Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to be talking about Love After Divorce Season 4, Episodes 1 and 2. James, how's it going?
Good to be back.
Yeah,
We're taking
took a
longer and
little break.
longer in between episodes.
Yeah.
We had to watch 2 of these episodes.
Yeah, they were long. And not a lot happened in the first one.
They only get to the point where they decide who's going to the grocery store and who's going to cook in the first episode. And then by the end of episode 2, there's still no dates, official, like, one-on-one dates. Or even, I mean, you could call the grocery kind of a group date, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
But so this is a very slow-moving season. But I think there's a lot to talk about, actually. Especially in episode 2, I think.
Yes. Where things get a little more interesting,
But what are you watching, Sarah? What's going on?
I feel like I've just been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers as like a comfort show because my life is in disarray right now, you know. But I did start watching. It's called it's a K-drama called My Demon, I think, where this guy's a demon and he loses his powers and somehow it's connected to this one woman and then, smooches or whatever. It's, a romantic comedy situation and it's a fun time. I haven't finished it yet, but I don't have any big complaints like last time I talked about whatever K-drama I was watching.
It's on Netflix.
Yes, it's on Netflix. I mean, probably inadvisable to try to get in a relationship with a demon, but it's working out so far.
Is it like
There's also a lot of corporate intrigue in it as well. Sort of like, oh no, who killed grandma who's in charge of our corporation, and a lot of infighting or whatever.
Okay. Is it like Twilight?
I
like that?
don't know. I haven't watched Twilight.
Okay.
I don't have any reference for that one.
Vampires are demon-like, I guess.
I mean, it's probably similar in you probably shouldn't get in a relationship with some like crazy old immortal being that doesn't really have a set of morals that are congruent with your own, probably. So yeah, it's probably pretty similar.
Okay.
What about you? What have you been watching?
All right, I got a long list of things
okay.
I'm watching. I'll start with a good one. Have you watched Arcane season 2?
I watched the first half of season 2 because they released it in halves. And the second half wasn't out yet, and I haven't finished yet.
Okay, wait. Have I watched all of it? I definitely have. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all of it's out now. It's just like there was like a week, I think, or something in between. And I had time to watch the first one before the second was out. And yeah, that's all.
I feel like I enjoy Arcane, partially because I played the video game, though. I feel like it's very magical nonsense heavy. But, But like the art style and the music are just amazing. So
definitely.
It's like it just works worth watching for that.
Yeah. It is a fun vibe. I did have to watch a YouTube video recapping the first season because I had forgotten who everyone was, and for whatever reason Netflix didn't want to include a previously on section.
Yeah. Well, you say it's a fun show, but it's pretty
oh yeah, it's kind of heavy.
It's a tragedy in the traditional sense, right?
But like the art style is fun and different and exciting.
Yeah. Have you started watching Skeleton Crew?
Oh yeah, I guess I have been watching things, and I just keep forgetting. I watched 3 episodes are out now, and I've watched those.
I don't know.
I've enjoyed that.
I watched episode 1. Wasn't really feeling it, Sarah, but
no.
It was very like 90s in like not a good way to me. Episode 1, it was like
okay.
It was like a lot of like 90s tropes in it, and it was just like
interesting.
It's about some kids, and the main kid, he has like a dad who's like not a very good dad. Every single Disney children's movie needs like a guardian who's not good at being.
Well, yeah, otherwise how are they going to get away with shenanigans? If they had good parents, they wouldn't be up to shenanigans.
I mean, there's okay, whatever. I mean, you could be supportive of different. You could just be supportive and not just be like, true. You need to do this, you need to do that, and then the kid tries to talk to you, and you're like, don't talk to me, just do it. That's usually how every parent is in Disney stuff. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I feel like it could get better, maybe,
Okay.
but it is kind
Yeah.
of like it's kind of, they're trying to like get kids, like new kids, re-interested in Star Wars, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of just feel like it's got that vibe to it. And like I just didn't like that, like, okay, we're trying to get kids re-interested in Star Wars by using like 90s tropes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know.
All
I
right.
didn't
That's
really
fair.
like that. So maybe it gets better after episode 1, but I wasn't in a rush to watch episode 2 after I watched episode 1.
Okay.
So I haven't continued, but I might.
I was really intrigued episode 1 from like whenever they decide to show just like everyday life in Star Wars, I like that. Like, in Andor when there was the like corporate guy who was all about like trying to track down Andor or whatever, and then like he gets fired and you just see him eating cereal living with his mom. Like I just kind of love that because it's like, oh, yeah, people in Star Wars get sad and eat cereal in their, when they have to move back with their mom. Like it's relatable and interesting. I don't know. So the first episode was a lot of just like normal life for these kids in the Star Wars planet.
Yeah, but they
And now
all
it's
live
all,
in the 90s.
space shenanigans. But yeah,
But they live in the
that's
90s
fair.
for some reason, and I didn't like that part of it. But
One of them at least has very good parents. I think actually two of them do, and we spend no time with their parents. So it's just
yeah,
the two kids have bad
could have made
parents.
different choices. People who made that show,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why we need to keep doing this, but yeah,
Fair.
it probably gets better.
All right.
Okay. All right. Everything else is what I'm looking forward to watching. I got a list.
Okay.
January is stacked coming up.
Okay.
Deal or No Deal Island season 2. We mentioned that show, but never talked about it. I enjoyed Deal or No Deal Island.
Okay.
It's different, silly.
Yeah.
Traders season 3, which is an amazing TV show.
Ooh. Did enjoy
Emmy.
Traders.
What do they do? TV shows win Emmys? Emmy award-winning reality TV show.
Yeah. Nice.
Traders.
Yeah.
Sorry, Deal or No Deal Island is January 7th.
Okay.
Traders is January 9th. Severance season 2 is January 17th.
Ooh.
And then Singles Inferno 4 is
sometime.
in January. It's December 12th right now.
We're closing in on
and
it.
We do not know the exact day in January.
Yeah. But that is a bummer.
Apparently it's January. Netflix is I don't know what they're waiting for.
I feel like they put us through this last year too. They waited till last minute to actually.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
I remember like there were several episodes where we were like, did they tell us yet? Nope.
Okay. Yeah, so January's pretty stacked.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about in terms of probably we're not getting episodes out as often with being more busy, both of us. We're definitely doing Singles Inferno. That's gonna come out at some point. The only thing that I would be interested in doing before that is maybe recapping Severance season 1 for anybody that
would be helpful for me preparing to watch season 2 because it's been a while. So yeah,
I have rewatched it somewhat recently, but I would rewatch it again if we want to talk about it. Okay. A very weird show.
Weird in all the good ways.
Very interesting concept.
Yes.
Which we can talk about the ethical implications of this concept. I think it would be an interesting conversation just to go through season 1 and try to. I don't even know if we have to try to figure it out what the hell's going on in that show. We just have to, remind people of all the weird things.
Right.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched it, you'll be like, what the heck is happening? What the heck is this show? And maybe you'll want to go watch it. So
yeah.
All right. But yeah, we can make a decision at the end of the podcast. Here we go.
Yeah, sounds good.
Love After Divorce, season 4.
Yes.
Are you ready?
In the US, except not actually.
Yes, the first 3 seasons, I guess, were just in Seoul. Or I don't think they were in Seoul, but the people were casted like from Korea.
Yeah.
I don't know where they actually went to be filmed.
I imagine these tend to be filmed in Seoul or Jeju Island, so take your pick. Probably one of those. But this season, all of the participants are Koreans living in America, but the show is actually in Cancun,
Mexico. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's got a little
I mean, we've seen Love Catcher Bali, so
Yeah, exactly. It's got a little Love Catcher Bali vibe going on. They're on a fun vacation.
All right. So only season 4 is on Netflix because I guess it's some sort of deal.
I think it's where Netflix got involved. Yeah.
US version or something. I don't know. Here's a Netflix blurb. Newly single and ready to mingle, divorced men and women enter the Dulcing village looking to date, cohabitate, and find love again. There you go. So everybody on the show is divorced.
Yes.
Only
Pretty
once?
straightforward.
Probably. I think only once.
Yeah, I think.
Nobody said.
Well,
nobody
as far
said,
as we've gotten, it's only been mentioned once. Yeah.
I think they would have mentioned it though if they had been divorced first.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe that's a different show. You know, we've gone through. You have all the shows with the young people. We have the shows where they're on the show with the ex. We've seen the older people show. Then singly divorced and then doubly divorced. Different season.
Yeah. Well, at some point they just have a show about the divorced people that got together on the show about divorced people.
Oh yeah. And then they're on an episode where their exes are people they've gotten together with on the divorce show. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. I expect this show to be pretty much the same as the other shows we watched, except with divorced people. It is basically that, except
I will say the first 5 minutes are like a preview of the season, and they do try to at least make it sound very kind of scandalous and exciting, and like people are fighting or whatever. And I don't know if that's because these are divorced people or if these are US people. Like, I wonder how this season and the way it's portrayed compares to previous seasons where it's, Koreans in Korea.
Well, you think the previews for the season had like the participants arguing?
That's what they tried to make it seem like. They made it seem like pretty.
I was more focused
dramatic and
the drama that I was hearing during that was mostly just like them talking about their exes.
Oh, that was also part of the preview bit. But they did, in addition to people arguing, they also had people like cuddling or whatever, which you don't normally see as much of. And I wonder if that's just this show or this season of this show.
This season, I had to guess.
Yeah,
although it's a whole different age group than we normally watch, so.
Yeah, like that might contribute to it. Maybe once you've been divorced once, you're a little crazier on TV. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know.
Or maybe you're more aggressive in pursuing whatever. I don't know.
Maybe.
I cannot
be more
speak to it as a person who's
as well. But okay.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Hard to say.
The main thing going into the show is like they better tell me how these people got divorced, which we are going to get from their perspective, right? So
right, yeah. Of course, everything's got multiple sides to it, but we get their versions.
Kind of. I mean, they don't name who their ex is, so
right.
Yeah, they're not doing anybody dirty, really, but.
And there are no letters from their exes that they have to read or anything.
We're not going to have that. Did not miss that segment where we need another person to introduce the person. Yeah,
exactly.
No. They can tell us their story from their perspective, and I can read between the lines if I need to. It's fine. I don't need another person to do it. I don't need to read between somebody else's lines. Sarah, would you date someone who was divorced?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the difference might be I'm not a person who has or wants to have kids, so there seems to be a higher likelihood that someone who's divorced may have kids, and that might be the thing.
Okay.
That would stop it, but
if someone had kids, it's a hard pass.
It depends on the age of the kids. Probably. It's not my
younger's
jam.
Worse.
Yeah, because then I'd have to participate in having kids longer. You know what I mean?
Okay. But if a childless divorced person, do you see somebody being divorced as a negative or a positive?
No, I mean it's neutral. Everything depends on what they did or did not do. But I don't see a divorce as a failing. Just because a relationship ended doesn't mean it wasn't worth it for the time they were together, or somebody is necessarily a bad guy or whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by it.
I think it comes. I don't know. I've never been in this situation. It would definitely make me a little bit more cautious, but I just they could be on the good side of the breakup or whatever, right?
There doesn't have to be a good and bad side of
there
the
doesn't have to be
either,
but there could be, right?
Well, what's the difference between a marriage breakup and a just long relationship breakup?
Not much necessarily.
Yeah. So why would you have the same hesitancy about a person in a long relationship that broke up as someone who got divorced?
I guess so. Yeah, you've convinced me.
Wait, that's the wrong direction I meant to convince you.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I do think there's
I'm
just an
I'm
unnecessary stigma around like
in general, I've
marriages that
become a very
end.
skeptical of all people person.
Oh well,
So,
that's fair. Okay,
yeah.
let's just be equally
Really,
skeptical of all
where
people.
my thing
That's fine.
comes from, I don't know how deep we want to get into this, but I am like not a marriage person. I just like
Yeah.
it. The
Uh-huh.
whole concept is weird to me. My wife and I are actually not married.
Mm-hmm.
We just at some point, well, when we decided that we wanted to have a kid, we started like referring to each other as husband and wife.
Right.
But like we didn't actually do any of the marriage process at all.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if we want to dive into that at all, but that it's more of I think a lot of these people what we didn't get, I guess because they didn't reveal ages. I feel like the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing I would want to know is like, okay, when did you get married?
Yeah, I think we do get into that by the end of the second episode.
Most divorced people probably married young, and that's like
Mm,
that's what leads to divorces, I think, more than anything.
I don't know that. I mean, there might be a strong correlation there, but I don't know that it's a. I
When
don't
I
know
by
the
young, I
numbers
just
on
mean like
that,
if
but
you get married
yeah.
before you're like 26, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
chances
yeah,
are you're gonna go through some major changes to your
yeah.
perspective on
Mm-hmm.
life between the time you got married and the time and it like you just have to hope that the person you married like has the similar changes or not like anti against your changes enough that
Right. Yeah.
you can still like be compatible.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think there's all sorts of reasons people get divorced, you know? Like that's just one of many things that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess somebody now think about it, like I guess if somebody's like got into, you know, the finished what do we call it? Their brains done cooking or whatever
Yeah, yeah,
age.
yeah. When their
Whatever
brain's
like
done baking, yeah.
28 or above, you know,
Uh-huh.
kind of like what I guess whatever they went through before that is probably like you can just judge them as they are now.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is your updated judgment is people who've gotten divorced before 28, you've forgiven them, it's not an issue.
No, I'm saying
But people who got divorced later, you may
no,
be
they can
holding it
get
against
divorced
them.
after that age. I'm just saying if they got married before
Oh, so if they got married and
if
divorced
they got married
after that
young
age,
and
then
then
you're gonna
and
judge
then
them a
you're
little
like you're
harsher.
meeting them as a divorced person,
Okay,
you'd be like,
okay.
oh, okay, you were married, but yeah, you classic. You got married too young,
Interesting.
but
Okay.
you're a full person now. We can I can evaluate you as the person you are now without yeah whatever. I just don't get marriage. That's really what it comes down to. No
Okay.
one ever stops to ask why are we getting married, and not
That's
like
true.
why am I marrying the person I'm choosing to marry, but why at all are we doing this? Because I stopped to ask that question and then was like, wait, the only actual reason is for like tax benefits, at least in the United States. That's like, which is
Uh-huh.
really weird that I don't know why, there are benefits correlated with getting married and not married. I feel like that's a very odd system,
Also,
but
some people want to throw a really big party, you know? I feel like that's part of
that's not a well, I guess so. I mean, if you yeah, that's what it comes down to. Like ultimately I think like marriage is like it's so ingrained in like culture
Yeah,
that
yeah. It's the thing
it's
that people think they should be doing next.
yeah, the marriage, I feel like marriage to a lot of people is the goal instead of like falling in love and having a successful long-term relationship, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
but that's what the goal should be. The goal should be finding somebody that you're compatible with and you want to like spend the rest of your life with, and then when having like the wedding and wanting to be like whatever, I don't get it at all. So you know, wanting to do all that is part of the reason you're doing it. It just becomes I don't know, gets very muddled to me in terms of
Yeah, yeah,
why
that's fair.
is this for is this for you and me, or is this for fulfilling your goals as whatever you've decided at
Right.
some
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
It's definitely a weird thing.
yeah.
With a lot of societal baggage. Yeah.
Marriage is based off of like, rich people back in the day in order to like keep power and wealth in their families would like they invented marriage, right? To like join families together so they could like stay rich and powerful. And
Yeah,
then
yeah, that's definitely part
those
of it.
people were like celebrities back then. to everybody. So everybody like at some point like started mimicking the rich, powerful people and what they
Well, I
did.
mean, there is
It's something like that.
there were marriages amongst poor people before that, but I think the big show of it all, the big party portion, is accurate.
Well, somebody
And
had
like
to
rich
somebody
people,
had to make that shit up at some point.
yeah, a lot of it stems from some real patriarchal bullshit about owning women. Is like the true origin of
Well, that's what
a
it comes
lot of
down
this.
to. Yeah. Well, that's part of the rich people doing it. Yeah, they're like combining their wealth at the price of a marriage to their son or whatever. We can
I
move
mean,
on.
I think that is a cross. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we get deep into this, it's gonna get weird.
We can talk about how
Yeah,
marriage is dumb all day. You know. That being said, if you want to
these
do
people
it,
aren't
if you
married
want to do
anymore.
it, do it. I don't actually have like an ethical issue with it. I just don't get it myself, and I just wanted people to realize that as we talk through this, that
Fair enough.
I am
Okay.
very kind of I find marriage a sketchy concept at best. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
I have similar feelings about it, and
Okay.
also just yeah, it seems a lot like just a thing people do because they're supposed to do it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah.
But
And
good for other people
we're
if they're
gonna meet a
happy.
lot of those people right now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Episode 1.
Episode 1. We have a panel of hosts. I don't know that we care too much.
Yeah. Not
They
nobody
don't.
stood out to me at all, really. The guy that's kind of funny is the guy that is divorced and like hates like dating or is like or like
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't
or
date
doesn't want to
anybody
get married
anymore.
again or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe he dates people, but yeah, but he doesn't want to get married again. The guy who's like he's kind of anti-marriage, I guess, after he's gone through divorce. So whenever sometimes he's like, yes, that's exactly how it is. That's kind of funny, but that's I don't even know what his name is, but that's the
I
only
don't
person
know what
that
his name is either.
he's the only one
There's
that made comments
also
that I enjoyed
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
There's also like another like he's a new host for the season apparently, and the other new host for the season they make a big deal of talking about how he's a hot single chef, and they're very excited about him.
Yeah. Yeah. But wasn't he like
He was a Korean American who then moved to
yeah,
Korea,
he like somehow qualifies
and that's where he
as like maybe
the perspective of
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Although it
he
does
says
lead to
bound,
him,
he says
yeah,
bound chicka wow wow at some point, and they Korean
and he
people have no idea what
confuses
he's talking about.
everyone so much.
Yeah, that was kind
So
of
there's
funny.
a hot tip: don't use the phrase "bow chicka bow wow" with Koreans; they will not know what you're talking about, and you will feel dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the intro we do start getting the divorce stories. I was still like maybe they're just gonna like put it here in the intro and we're not actually gonna get it, but then we do in episode 2. So that's good. That's exciting. Can't wait to get to that
Yeah.
part. They do is I didn't notice specifically like oh there's gonna be some serious like fighting amongst the participants, but in general the intro did try to it made the season seem very dramatic, like extra dramatic compared to the other shows we've watched.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely a like this is the first time they're producing a Korean show with Korean American participants, and it seems like they had a lot of like expectations on what that would look like, and there's a few comments at some point. I don't like maybe they made it more dramatic because they thought
Yeah.
that's what people would expect it to be more dramatic.
Yeah.
Would they think it's more dramatic because they're American? I don't know.
I think maybe. And there it's also it deserves to be said that some of them are like folks who are of Korean heritage and were like either moved over to America very young or were born in America, or I think somebody's born in South America
Oh,
even too.
there's somebody born somewhere in South America, and then there's somebody that was
Mhm.
born in another
Germany
a
or
specific.
something, I think.
Oh, Jerome, I think is born in Germany. We found
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
And then there are some folks who moved over like in college or even a little bit older. So it is kind of a mix of like, I don't want to say like Koreanness, but like recency of living in Korea, and therefore like they're not all like super American is what I'm trying to say, you know? Like, so if you're expecting quote unquote American behavior, you're not gonna like fully get that from everybody, you know? They've not all been raised in an
I
American
guess.
culture.
I mean, they've all lived in America for a significant amount of time. It seems, though, right?
Yeah, I think, except maybe Dewey sounds like he's recently gotten there, but or something. I don't know.
Recently,
He was a little. He's the guy that got divorced 3 months ago, so who knows with him?
Yeah, there are definitely some people that haven't lived in the U.S. for the majority of their life. but some people
Right.
have.
Mm-hmm.
There's another person, I think it's in my notes somewhere, but I can't find it. Somebody else is from a specific South American country. There's two people from that were born in South America, I believe. Unless I totally
Um.
misheard that, but
Oh no, I think you're right. I can't remember who the
let's see.
second person is off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, we'll get to it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we
But so
go.
yeah, it
We're
does seem
gonna.
like the producers were expecting maybe a more explosive season because of the quote unquote Americanness of the cast. But
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't
get to
know.
some specific comments that I thought were very interesting, but
Okay.
about that perspective of
Yeah.
their expectations going into this. All right, so we're gonna meet the participants.
Hmm.
We're gonna do groceries. This is for two
Yep.
episodes. We're gonna meet the participants, do groceries and cooking, and
Uh-huh.
then reveal how we got divorced.
That's right. Night one, divorce story.
And this is all night. No, this kind of it barely goes into day two, right?
Right.
We
Yeah. The
barely
tail
get to
end of
day
episode
two,
2. Hmm.
which then sets up for how does it even end?
I think they're about to
They're
pick
about
dates or
to
something.
do some sort of dating. Yeah, episode 3 is actually going to have dates, but we didn't get to that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's meet the participants. We have 8.
10.
Oh, they tricked us. Apparently, apparently, all 3 seasons had 8, but they were like, oh, everything's bigger in America. We're going 10.
Yeah. In America, but also in Cancun. So yeah. What is also interesting about this season is a lot of people have English names that they go by. There are a couple that are
Or
still
Spanish names.
Oh yes, a
Or
Spanish name.
made up names.
Well, in a lot of ways, their English names for a lot of people are made up names. They
I would
like
just
pick
say
an English
not
name.
Korean names is what I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, it's standard. There's a cute house, and people are walking into it and sitting on a couch and being awkward. That's
The house has
the
a nice
beginning.
pool. They have a nice pool at this house.
Yeah, and they're also like right by the beach, and so you can like see the ocean and stuff. It's got quality like beach vacation vibes.
Yeah. All right, we got Tom. Tom's coming in.
Yes.
First person.
We learned that it's been 3 years since he was divorced, and he went to Boston for school and then just stayed in the US. So he's a college age move. Yeah.
A big thing that comes up on this show, I believe Benita may be the first one that kind of talks about it, but knowing where the person lives in the US is like significantly greater information than like knowing where somebody lives in Korea.
Oh yeah,
Because
the
it's
US
so much
is
bigger.
too freaking big. Yeah.
Like if you're in Boston and Seattle, like that's a completely different relationship dynamic than
it's like,
honestly,
why even bother?
Honestly, it's honestly so hard to probably cast 10 people and have them even remotely near each other unless you do it on purpose.
Yeah,
But
exactly. And like especially if you're talking about like I don't know, Korean communities in America are probably pretty small in a lot of places,
they talk
at
about that
least
too.
people reference that in this. So like you couldn't even I think cast from the same city because there's a good chance like if the community is tight knit at all, everybody already knows each other, right? Like you're not pulling from a big pool of folks in one area.
Yeah, they talked about that. I don't actually know the legitimacy of that, but they did kind of mention it. Yeah. Yeah. Tom says about his ex, we fought from time to time, but not any more than a normal couple. Is that a red flag for you, sir? That's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, I've never been in a relationship and
about.
stayed
like,
where you fight a lot. Like that's not my jam.
See, this is the hesitancy that I have with like I guess what it is like I assume they got married young, right? But they are still like a person that like I don't know how to say it, but like it's like they were willing to take a risk like that, which just it implies to me that like they are like it's more likely to me that like they are a person that like their goal is to get married, not so much like the actual compatibility and part of it.
Don't you think that there is a chance that will have changed by going through a
divorce? I'm not saying like, oh, you got a divorce, like no chance you're like a good person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like I would feel like some more hesitancy with somebody that had a divorce versus like somebody who didn't. I don't know. Like if
I mean you are starting fundamentally from a difference in personal beliefs,
Yeah.
So that is a fair like.
I guess if I was a divorced person, I might have a totally different perspective on this. But I guess
Yeah,
I can never
probably.
officially be a divorced person in the
Well,
in
which
that
is why I'm
sense.
saying the difference between being divorced and just having a breakup from a long relationship, not as
Well,
big as
but the
all
difference
that.
is like they are somebody that maybe like their goal is just to like have a spouse,
Maybe.
and it's
I
not.
don't know that that's fair to assume of everyone who's
I'm not
ever gotten
assuming it. I'm
married,
just
though.
saying
Like,
it's
you
more
know, there's.
likely that that is the case for somebody that is divorced than somebody who's not. There you go. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Solid, maybe.
Maybe it's not significant. It might not be a significant difference, but it, you know,
Okay. It's enough that
mathematically,
it's
it's something.
tweaked for
Yeah.
you. Okay. Okay.
Also, Tom tells us that it's 3 p.m. So there we go. They start rolling it at
Oh,
3
yeah.
p.m. on this show. We've never
It's
gotten
always
that
nice
information
when we get
before.
weird little details like
Yeah.
that. I love it.
Oh, but going back to Tom, like
Yeah.
it's a huge red flag for me because he's basically being like, oh yeah, I expect to get married and fight with the person I
Yeah.
love. That's just normal. It's like no, it's not. It's not just
I mean,
something.
it apparently is normal for some people. I don't know. It's not my jam. But he kept describing his marriage as really fun and nice. And I'm like, it doesn't sound like it, my dude, but okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's easy to look back and be like, yeah, most of it was nice. Like, if I like, the majority of it could be nice, but like, if 40% of it is arguing, that's fucking garbage, man. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot of
yeah. No,
arguing.
I just don't get that at all. Anybody who has an expectation that like, oh yeah, a husband and wife dynamic is like, yeah, you argue. That's what you do. It's like,
Mm,
nah,
no
I'll stay
thanks.
away. I'll stay away from you. Um, but yeah, I was out on Tom pretty fast. All right, Benita is our second pick.
Yes, Benita. It has been 5 years since she got divorced, and she was married for 6 years. She is the person who grew up in South America and then moved to the U.S. in high school, and she has never lived in Korea.
But met her husband
On
while
vacation in Korea.
and then got married
And did a long distance marriage, is what it sounds like. We get more details about that later.
like she went to Korea and had a Vegas wedding and then
Yeah, sounds
like
like. Yeah, uh-huh.
what's going on?
Hey, she had a really good vacation, you know?
I guess. Okay. The hosts say she's so pretty.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, they say those exact words about every woman.
Well, they do tend to cast pretty people on
Yes,
these
but
shows.
the host of the show could not come up with a different way of saying it. They said it the same way every single time. We usually, like the other show, like Heart Signal, though they're like, ooh, she's like a cat or like they I don't know. They say like they'll say like something weird.
Yeah. Or like she's a real girl next door type, or they'll reference some show or famous person she looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I was missing the Heart Signal hosts when I was watching this. I
That's
was
fair.
like, I still think they're the best.
Benita does seem to have a really positive outlook on her marriage and divorce, though. She says the best thing she's ever done in her life was get married, and the second best was getting divorced.
Yeah,
So,
that's what they all say,
there
right?
you go.
Of course.
No, I think that she's a little bit more. I don't know that anybody else quite put it that way.
But every single one of them is like, oh yeah, getting divorced was like one of the best decisions
Oh,
of my
yeah, yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I think there are, some folks who leave it unsaid that maybe they shouldn't have gotten married. But she's like, no, it was good that we got married, and it's also good that we got divorced. I'm like, I can respect that.
Yeah, honestly, that's the mentality like if you are going to get married, especially if you're going to get married young, like that's the mentality to have. You're like, well, because like, I'm a very math based kind of person, like if
Yeah.
50% of marriages end in divorce, like you have to just be going into it like expect like you have to just be like this is a thing that might happen, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
So you can just go through life, have fun, and then when it stops being fun, you end it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't look at
Yeah,
like somebody that
absolutely.
got divorced. I don't think like they're lesser because they're a divorcee. It's just I'm just
Yeah.
extrapolating like how they got to that point, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm actually
You're having more
like
fundamental problems with marriage itself rather than the divorce.
somebody that got divorced, I respect way more than somebody that's still in a shitty marriage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah. there's multiple times in this where I wrote in my notes like, "Get out of there," even though they're already out of there. But when we hear some of these stories, you're like, "Get the fuck out of there, man!" And they did, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. I feel like Benita and Tom are pretty awkward. I actually feel like this might be the most awkward group of people we've ever watched. Is that crazy to say?
They're like super awkward, but also like at least willing to talk. Like we get people in these episodes talking about hobbies. Have we ever seen anyone actually talk about hobbies?
At what point did they start saying that though? Like I feel like it took till like Jerome gets in there for like anything to be
like, that's fair.
Like even a little bit not awkward.
I think they also did front load the entrance of the cast with some of the more awkward people.
Okay.
Like third in, we're gonna get Dewey, and by the end of episode 2, they're just like, look at Dewey being awkward in the corner over there.
I feel bad for Dewey a little bit, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. I might just be forgetting the awkwardness of the other seasons, but for some reason it felt really awkward for me. I don't know. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it to be awkward also, because I thought they would be like, they're at least like all in their 30s or whatever. So
yeah. I mean, we do at least get them, like they do at some point start talking a little bit more freely than you might get on other shows, but it does start with that awkward air that you get from all of these things.
Yeah. All right. Here's Dewey.
Yeah, Dewey literally took his name from DuckTales, so that's the kind of dude this is. You just got to set yourself up with that, which is funny.
Yeah.
It is 3 months since his divorce, which seems crazy to me. He said that he moved to the U.S. with his wife when he was 30, and like 2 weeks later, they wanted to get a divorce, and they just got one online, and that was it. So
there's a little bit more to it later, but yeah.
Yeah, but like, I cannot imagine deciding, okay, let's move countries when you're like 2 weeks away from a divorce, right? Unless the move was so much, and it doesn't sound like it was that, but I don't know. Like, if you feel like maybe in 2 weeks we might get divorced, I'm not moving countries with you. Like, it's not happening.
I got a little lost in an explanation though, but was it something like it was easier to get divorced in the U.S.?
There was something about, I think, it's because in my notes later, but I think like
one of them is
wife,
not a Korean citizen. Oh yeah, because he married like a Caucasian American.
Yeah. He married a white girl and she was American, and so they couldn't get divorced I guess they got married in Korea, but like they couldn't get divorced at the consulate because she wasn't a Korean citizen. And then he was just like, how do I get a divorce? Let me Google it. Oh, I found it online. Let's submit this form.
But it's only in the US that he could do that.
I guess.
I think.
So we're saying that maybe Dewey is still married according to Korean law? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm sure he sorted his stuff out.
Do we know that they got married in Korea?
No, we don't.
Be could have got I don't know how that shit works.
The fact that he went to like the Korean consulate.
Why even deal with this? Just be together.
I'm sure there's
tax benefits. I know there's tax benefits.
There's tax benefits. I mean, especially if you are an international couple, there is benefits to being married.
Oh yeah,
like
that's the other reason. That's the other reason to actually use marriage to game the system is
or just like be a little bit closer to ensuring you could stay with the person you're married to. Not, I mean, yes, game the system, sure, but there are valid reasons there. I'm not into it, but I'm not gonna like marriage shame people who want to get married.
I just want people to, if you want to do it, but be
a little critical about it. Yeah,
this entire TV show is a cautionary tale. To anybody.
What do you mean? You get married, you get divorced, you get to go on TV and flirt with other attractive people. Sure. Yeah,
you could look
like
at
a winning combo.
You could look at it that way, like the downs of life are just gonna happen. I'll take the risks with knowing that things might go to shit for a while, but then I'll get divorced and I'll feel great. You can't have that great feeling of getting divorced unless you get married. So
exactly,
unless you're just in a relationship and then you break up, that might be the same thing. But
in the first case, you get to have a party and people give you presents. I don't know, man.
You have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a party.
I mean, you don't have to. You could have a cheap wedding. And people will still bring you gifts.
You could. Okay.
We're talking about gaming the system. Marry your buddies. Get other people to give you gifts. I don't know.
Are wedding gifts that good that you want them though, or are they just like?
I don't know.
I guess
Wedding
they
gifts
could
can be
be.
whatever you want them to
Yeah, I
be.
guess that could be whatever they wanted to be. Yeah.
You can go on Amazon and make your wedding registry, and Amazon has
Oh yeah, they do
everything.
the registries. Yeah, that's true. You can decide what people give you. Oh
I
yeah.
have a friend who, when they got married, put the game Skyrim on their wedding registry. Like,
Yeah.
you could put anything on there.
Yeah, they got you guys so good.
I think I bought them a popcorn maker or something. I forget.
That was on their
Something.
registry? Oh, not like a
Or
machine.
a waffle
not
maker.
a machine, but like a kitchen maker.
Yeah,
Okay,
something
okay,
like that. I don't know.
Okay. That's more reasonable. I thought like a whole damn popcorn machine.
No, I didn't get like a movie theater style glass enclosure popcorn
I don't know why
machine for
that's
them.
where my head
But...
went right away. Okay. So he's been divorced for 3 months, Dewey, but he could have been separated for a long time. Like some people just kind of,
I guess that's true.
like the divorce. Like again, it's kind of
the
like
process takes a while. Yeah,
it's kind of like why you get married. Why get married? It's kind of like the same idea. It's like, okay, we don't want to be together. We separate. We don't live together. But like, as long as you just figure there's no immediate like, oh, we have to divide up our shit ASAP. It's like, oh, we just don't live together. It doesn't really matter if we're divorced or not divorced, right? So they might have just sat on it. And then I have some other speculation when we get to his explanation later.
Okay, interesting. But we do find out he is in a band and not bummed at all about his divorce, is what I wrote. He's
Why would anybody be bummed about their divorce? It's fucking amazing.
There's plenty of reasons you might be bummed about a divorce.
I don't think anybody on this show is bummed about their divorce. Tom literally talks about how like when somebody tells me
congratulates people.
No, that's actually like that's legitimately what you should do. Anytime somebody gets divorced, you'd be like, congratulations, you know?
It's a valid point of view because it's like if they, at least if they are the person who like triggered the divorce, if a divorce happens upon someone, you know, if your partner asks for a divorce out of the blue, you might be bummed. But if things weren't going well and you both decided, let's call it quits, yes, absolutely. Congratulations, you've made a good decision. Your lives are going to be better now.
Yeah. I mean, I think the cases of like, oh, everything was great. And then all of a sudden they were like, let's get divorced. I don't think that's like really a high percentage of cases, you know? Like,
or
most cases
somebody
are like,
in here is gotten cheated on and then a divorce, you know, like their husband left them for the other woman. Like that's not a great time.
That's still congratulations though. You're not with that,
I mean, it
asshole anymore.
Well, yeah, that is a very good way to look at it, but it also might feel bad, and that's valid too.
Yeah, but I think Tom's strategy of saying congratulations is much better than being like, "Oh my god, are you all right? Are you gonna be okay?"
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine.
Well, I mean, you got to read the room. You got to read, you know, how they're feeling about it.
I go with congrats. I think that's like 99% success rate saying congrats. I think.
I guess that's true.
Also, my perspective is, you know, if somebody doesn't want to be with you, then you shouldn't want to be with them. So
I think that's pretty easy to say and harder to follow through with on feelings.
Okay. Where are we at? Oh wait, so Dewey he lived in Korea until he was 30, so he's definitely over 30. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it sounds like not that much over 30.
Oh yeah, so
of how recent his divorce is.
It's only did he just move to Korea? Did he move to the US to be on the show? Did he used to move to the US, get divorced just to be on the show?
Oh, it has been so recent. Wait. Yeah, he heard about casting, went, okay, let's move to the States real quick and get divorced so I can get on the show.
Wait, actually, that's definitely what happened here. Wait.
I don't know that that's definitely what happened here.
This whole thing about, you know, one of us isn't Korean, so we couldn't get divorced, that's bullshit. He's bullshitting us.
Okay.
He just had to come up with a reason why he had to move to the US to get divorced.
No, it was harder to get divorced because they were in the US and he was trying to get a Korean divorce.
And it was so hard that he just went online and did it?
Yeah.
This isn't adding up, Sarah. He did this all just to be on the show. Joke's on him, though. I don't think he's going to do that great on the show.
Yeah, all signs so far point to Dewey's.
How did he even get casted for that? Like, did they do casting up till like 3 months before?
I guess.
This is
like you were saying.
Doesn't make any sense. What?
Like you were saying, people might be separated for a while before the actual stuff gets finalized. So maybe he applied while they were separated, but he hadn't quite finished the paperwork.
Oh, you think you could apply without actually being divorced? Okay. Look, I'm not divorced, but I will get divorced if you let me go on the show.
My entire marriage depends on your response to my casting application.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're right. I did write down they weren't allowed. He said we weren't allowed to get divorced in the U.S. Or actually, I got lost in this. But then I went online and I did it, and I was allowed. I just wasn't allowed to do it in person. I don't get this. Okay, whatever.
I don't know. I've never tried
I
to get a
don't
Korean
really.
divorce. I
Yeah,
cannot say how
I don't
difficult
really
it
care
is.
to get it either, honestly. Okay, whatever. Got divorced online. Anything
Okay.
else?
I think that's
All
all
right.
we need to
More
talk about Dewey
awkwardness
for now.
more
Yeah.
awkwardness when Dewey showed up. Okay. Heejin.
Heejin. It's 1 year since her divorce, and she's been in the US since middle school, and her dad told her about the show and basically told her to apply.
Yeah. Also, she's so pretty.
I mean, she is.
Yeah. If I was listening to the podcast version of this TV show, as far as I know, they are identical people.
They're equally pretty.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Heejin got an exclamation point in the subtitles.
Oh,
Or she's
okay.
she's so pretty. All right, next is Jisoo. She's so pretty too, but just with a
Makes
with
sense.
a period, no exclamation point.
It's been also 1 year since her divorce. There's a lot of, I feel like,
Yeah, there's a lot of very recent divorces.
I
I don't know about this anymore. What's going on here?
mean, some people don't like to be not in a relationship.
One of them said, I wrote down divorce 1 year, but one of these two girls definitely said, I got divorced in the last year.
Yeah.
Which could mean, yesterday or a year ago.
That is also true. So we find out Jisoo's been alone in the US since university, and she vaguely talks about how her husband broke her trust, and so they broke up. She broke up with him without any regrets. She had a bummer of a divorce because we find out later her husband, in fact, cheated on her. And
spoilers. Okay.
Well, I mean, we talked a lot about other people.
It was never confirmed. It was never confirmed, though. Allegedly.
No. It was hella confirmed.
There's a lot of.
Yeah, her husband never actually said it.
There's a lot of evidence.
But she did find a lot of bank records with our flights with this other woman's name on it, and then once they got a divorce, he married the other woman. So
it was just a coincidence.
I think it's safe to say. Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, they do say, okay, actually, I don't know if they did it for everybody, but for the first handful of people, they were named a celebrity that they looked like.
Oh yeah,
and then
that's right.
Jisoo was Momo from Twice, who I actually know who that is.
Yes.
But I was like, kind of, maybe not really. I didn't really see it. But I was looking at Jisoo and I was like, she does look like someone though. And for the 2 days that I watched this, I was like, who the hell am I thinking of? I was like, is it an actress? Is it somebody from another show that we watched? And then I finally figured it out in the 11th hour.
Yeah.
That it's Xi'an from Survivor. not that anybody knows who that is, but it's a contestant from Survivor from season 5 and season 8. So there you go.
Well, it makes sense why they didn't use that as the example on the show.
Very old school. We're talking 2004 at this point. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But that I was bugging me out. I was like, she looks like and then I looked up a picture of the girl from Survivor, and I was like, the picture I pulled up didn't really look like her, but I have I've watched those seasons multiple times, so I have this image of her, and I just I could see her on the island. I could see Jisoo on the island as she. Okay. So it was satisfying to solve that personal riddle of mine.
Nice.
All right. Jerome.
Oh, Jerome. It has been 6 years since his divorce. He said he came to the US when he was 1 or 2. And then we find out he was a K-pop singer in the late 90s, early 2000s in a group called Extra Large or X Large. I don't know how they.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the stylized it. And then we get this sad story about how he is he has I guess a brother and a sister, but they live in different states from him, and he just watches TV about Japanese children and cries because he's very alone. And they show him eating a heated up dinner on a TV tray in front of a TV in his sad living room, and it is very sad. This boy, I 100 like I tend to not
Call it a
believe that people
boy.
come on these shows.
You can't call these
Okay,
people
this
boy.
all right. This adult man.
Not
Like I
on this
tend to not
show.
believe people come on these shows to actually find love. I believe Jerome is lonely and wants to find someone
Yeah,
100%.
he at least wants kids, right?
Yeah,
Seems like he
or
wants kids.
something. Well, he says he wants to find a partner who with whom they can change each other's adult diapers when they're old.
There you go.
So
I like
there we
Jerome.
go.
I did like Jerome from his intro package. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
They say the contestants say he looks like a bad boy,
Oh.
and how handsome. That's what they
And then
say.
one of the hosts like actually knows him personally from
Oh
like
yeah,
show business.
yeah. Did she say she does like design the outfits for X Large or something? I don't
Or
know.
something like that. I don't know.
Wait, so Jerome was born in Germany and then moved to the U.S., but then at some point got involved with K-pop.
Yeah, and then that he moved to Korea for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Which you'll find a lot of like Koreans born and living in other countries will sometimes come over to Korea for K-pop stuff.
Well, yeah, I would imagine. Imagine if you're doing if you're in K-pop, you're probably gonna go back to Korea
Well,
too.
no, I mean like as opposed to like trying to become a singer in the US or whatever. They'll,
Oh, I
specifically be like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'll go to Korea and be in K-pop."
Okay. Jerome is probably the heaviest English speaker. Like all of them. Well, not all of them, but a number of them are speaking English by default in their confessionals.
Yeah.
And Jerome seems the most like he'll speak Korean the least, or like he won't switch to Korean as
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
as fast as other people will.
That's true. There is another guy we meet later who grew up in America and speaks primarily English, and his Korean is not very good, but he is frequently trying.
He's trying,
in
yeah.
Korean. Yeah.
Jerome will say like
whereas
a whole
Jerome is like, yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know if they're all understanding you, Jerome. I mean, maybe they are, but like,
Yeah.
there are like words that I'm used to like people saying in English that I guess like most Korean people will know the English term. But then Jerome is saying like whole sentences that I haven't heard other people's talk
Yeah.
like that, and I'm wondering if everybody's understanding. And then there are parts where they have to like he has to like switch back to Korean to like say it again.
Right. Yeah.
But he's like he feels the most Americanized out of everyone. I don't know. I don't know if
Okay.
that's fair to say, but that's how it felt to me, Jerome.
Okay.
All right. How about Jimmy?
Do I have this right? It's been 13 years since his divorce. That's a long time.
Yeah. No, that's right. Because he's had 8 relationships since he's been divorced. So that's
Yeah,
like 8 relationships in 13 years.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
What qualifies as a relationship there?
It is all up to the people involved. I don't know. There's no hard rule about that.
Because he goes on to say at least one of the relationships was serious.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I wouldn't call it a relationship unless there was a certain amount of seriousness to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like for most people, it's probably a length thing, right? Like if you casually date somebody for like multiple months, I mean,
yeah,
anything's a relationship, right? Everybody's in
true.
a relationship with everybody. It's just
that's true.
how
It just
every
depends on the
relationship
nature
is
of said
different.
relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But maybe he's literally only interacted with 8 people in the last 13 years.
Maybe. One of those people is his mailman, just
there you go.
But also, let's see, he came to the US sophomore year of high school. So been here for a little while.
Yeah. He had a line that I do not know what he's referring to. Maybe you can clear this up for me. He said something about, oh yeah, he's been in relationships, but in almost all cases, when I talk about my past, it becomes too heavy. Like heavy for them. I don't know. I didn't really understand what he was trying to say.
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember the exact actual nature of his divorce and if it's just a bummer talking about it.
Well, and then he goes on to say something about how he's been cheated on, but I don't think it was his wife that cheated on him.
Oh, yeah.
It might have been somebody, one of the 8 relationships. Maybe it
so
was
maybe it's
the
just like
relationship. I don't know.
He's just been in 8 very bad relationships, and that's why talking about his past is heavy. I don't know.
Yeah, but we don't get what the heavy part of his past is. That like he made it sound like oh, I've been in many relationships where, or this is what I inferred or I implied from what he was saying was it sounded like I've been in many relationships. They were going well, but then I started talking about my past, and then we broke up. That's so. That's I was
Maybe.
like, what? What's going on here, GB?
I don't know.
But he's kind of like the I don't know what to call it. He's not the ladies' man of the season. He's like the that's not the right word. But he's I don't know.
He's
He's
kind
like
of
he's like the guy.
charismatic and like taking care of people, and like he's got an appeal.
Yeah, I guess from the start they've been like 8 relationships in 13 years. He must have some skills in this area. I guess it's I wouldn't even say he's necessarily charismatic so
Well, I mean,
far.
I think like he's like people are having an easy time talking to him, and sort of the way he moves about and kind of takes care of things for people is kind of appealing to some
Yeah,
of the women.
to me, his superpower is he's really good at paying attention,
Yeah.
and that's all I've really seen so far. But it's working, which we'll get to later.
I had a big problem where I kept confusing his face with Huey's face,
I did that once.
even though they are very different.
It's not Huey, it's Dewey.
In personality.
Or is it Louie?
What?
It's Dewey.
No. It's only the one duck.
You said Huey though, so then I was like,
oh, did I say Huey?
Yeah, you did
it's
say
Dewey.
Huey.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, yeah. Oops.
they're all
But
the same.
I don't know if it's like their head shape is the same or something, but I just kept confusing the two of them, and it was a problem.
No, that happened to me. That happened to me too. I wrote down Jimmy's entire divorce story as if it was Dewey, and then we got to Dewey, and I was like, wait, I definitely missed something.
I will say, like, on other shows we've seen, they're usually Korean subtitles, and like they'll have the name of the person talking at the beginning, and I usually use that to like reconfirm that I know who is who when I get confused, and they do not do that on this show. And so that made this Dewey Jimmy confusion happen like much deeper into the show than would normally be the case for me.
I didn't think it was that interesting. I didn't think it was that bad. It did get me at the divorce reveal. The other thing I wrote down about Jimmy, this is apparently the girlfriend that cheated on him after his divorce. The father of the girlfriend called him or something to like talk about it, and then the father like told him that he should be more understanding since he is a divorced person.
Yeah, that's
okay. That's not how I feel about divorced people at all. That is not my perspective. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that is
because that's
awful.
like painting. I'm not like that's painting a divorced person like they're like almost like a lower social status than
right. Yeah,
than
like not worthy
else.
of the decency of not being cheated on.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just my stuff is from the perspective of if I were to like date them,
right?
Would I be more cautious or less cautious?
You would feel more incompatible with them because of
the likelihood of being incompatible would be higher. I would still if I was if I met somebody, I mean I'd go through the motions, but if I had to like choose amongst a line, if I was using a dating app, maybe I might be like, as if I had to choose like between people like they were on a dating app.
Yeah,
I would probably see divorce as a negative.
Yeah.
I probably would see divorce as a negative compared to people that aren't. But if I met somebody and like hit it off with them, and then I found out they were divorced, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a deal breaker. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I would just be like, oh, interesting. All right. Sora.
Her divorce was 1.5 years ago.
She's so pretty. She's so pretty.
Of course, yes.
Forget.
Very pretty.
Nope, she's just so pretty. They didn't say very.
Okay.
They didn't say very.
Well, I'm saying very. She's very pretty.
Oh, she's okay. You got Sora a little bit above everybody else. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I think she might be amongst my top people that I enjoyed on the show.
Okay, we're talking about prettiness right now, sir. What?
That is a component in if I enjoy people on the show or not.
You're talking about like inner and outer pretty.
Yeah. There's an algorithm, and prettiness is one of the components.
I'm pretty sure the hosts were just talking about her outward appearance, and they said she's so pretty.
Yeah, I have a better metric than the hosts. I'll just say it.
even within like 2 seconds of looking at them, which is when we get these comments.
Well, this is my post 2
Oh, okay.
episodes opinion. I've had time to form it.
Yeah, I was up and down on people through these 2 episodes.
Uh-huh.
I like
Okay.
Sora at first, and then I was like, I don't know, maybe I don't like Sora, and then I kind of did again, and then I don't know, I went really back and forth on Sora.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. She says she's had a lot of growth since her divorce. She says her husband hit her once, and then she ended things, but he was
Damn,
like,
spoiling for later.
no, she
okay.
said that. I
She
have
said that
this
here?
note. She said that here.
Oh, damn, I missed that.
She is very forthcoming about how shitty her ex-husband is.
Yeah. Sora. I think I liked her at first because she came in like a very like she looks very confident person.
Yeah.
Which can definitely be attractive. But her story includes like her husband would take her to like fancy restaurants and bought her like multiple fancy expensive cars, right? So she's coming. It feels like she's coming from a different economic status than everybody else on the show. But then later we're gonna find out that she made more money than her husband. At least that's what she says. But he's buying the cars, so I don't know. I'm a little confused on the dynamic of everything.
Might be he was using her money to buy her things,
but I feel like she would have said that if that was the case. Also, I don't know. Well, I got a sense that like the taking out to restaurants and buying fancy cars was like a maybe pre-marriage thing. I don't know.
Like in the beginning.
All I'm saying is this woman is rich as fuck. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, maybe she used to be. She does say later, like, how much her whole situation has cost. So
yeah, no. Okay, we find out that it cost $150,000 in legal fees. But imagine the shit they were like disputing and the price of everything if it cost.
No, I thought
or they have kids, or they have kids. I don't know.
I thought the legal fees were more around like her trying to prove that she should get a restraining order or stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
you think
she ended
that?
up going down that route with him because I don't know.
Oh, she did get a restraining. She got a restraining order for a year. You think that would cost that much?
I don't know. Lawyers be expensive.
Okay, I assume either.
I don't know.
We don't know how many kids all these people have. I assume they were either like kids involved, or I also just think I think both of them were. I think they're rich as fuck.
Okay.
Like the only reason you would even bother to pay lawyers that much is if there was something to do it for. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. She didn't go deep into that, but I just took it as an indicator that she's a lot of indications that she's pretty damn rich. is what I think.
Okay.
What else?
I think at this point everybody thinks this is it. Like this is
this
how
was
many
8.
people there are going to be.
This is where we were at 8. Yeah. Yeah, they actually like set up 8 chairs, and then they were like they all came in, and then the doorbell rings, and I'm like, all right, here's the first task. But nope, it's another person
from a different door.
Yeah, they come in a different way. This is Ricky.
It has been 4 years since Ricky's divorce. He was born in Brazil and then came to America at 4. This is the guy who is not super good at Korean. And he says he wants to meet a really nice person. He just wants somebody nice.
Yeah, Ricky seems solid.
I like Ricky a lot.
He's also handsome. Wait, they were really, I don't know, maybe it was the subtitles or not, but they were really uncreative about describing people. It was like literally, if they bothered to say anything, it was either pretty or handsome were the adjectives that we got. That's all it was.
That's fair.
Oh, he says girls tell him they like his small eyes. Thoughts, Sarah?
That is not something I'd ever tell anyone, I think. Not because I don't like eyes of a certain size.
Like, if you like somebody and they had small eyes, you'd probably tell them that. Why not?
I don't know. It just feels I'm too white to say that to an Asian person. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say some shit like that is what I'm saying. It might come off real bad, so I'm avoiding it.
Well, you think it's a comment about, like, the narrowness of his eyes or the size?
I don't know. But I am not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I would just say he had nice eyes. We don't need to know about the qualities that I like.
Some people just have, like, small and big eyeballs, you know?
I guess that's true. I don't know. Okay. I am not taking that risk.
Okay. All right.
Not doing it.
Well, I kind of like Ricky because he reminds me of a friend from high school. So...
Oh, he reminds me of a guy I know too. So that's why I also like him.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend from high school like looks like him a bit and also like kind of soft spoken in a similar way. Very similar energy as well.
Yeah, same. I'm pretty sure we don't know the same person.
Probably not. No. All right, and then there's a fifth woman too. Thank God.
Yes.
Harim.
Yes, it has been 1 year since her divorce. She came to the US when she was 4, and she dated her ex because she was young and he was handsome.
I like that. Yep.
But generally it sounds like it was a controlling, weird situation. I think in this beginning part she does bring up that he came from a particular religion, but she won't say which one. And that
we can
also
talk about that shit.
added to the stress of things. And she got divorced so she could live. So things were not great for her.
Yep. Good stuff. I did feel like she was being painted as like a potential main character. I don't know. There was a little bit of like emphasis on her backstory. I felt like she actually got comments. Why is everyone so beautiful? Wow, pretty. She's really pretty. So she got a really.
Oh, she got a really.
It's really better than Barry, though. I don't.
Oh,
we could debate this all day.
Yeah, hard to say.
What's better? She's really pretty, period, or she's so pretty! Exclamation point.
Oof.
I think an exclamation.
The exclamation point is probably better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if we had to rank them. Okay, never mind. Harim, I think, is very tall too. Like she might be. I haven't been able to confirm this, but I feel like there's a chance she's the tallest person on the season. Not even just woman.
Really? I feel like I think Jerome's the tallest.
I think Jerome is the tallest?
But he is kind of broad, and maybe that just makes me think he's tall.
I thought I saw her standing next to Jerome, and
I never pay as much attention to this as you, so I'm just going off of vibes.
Well, I had to start paying attention when we find out that Harim played defensive end in American football in middle school.
Yeah, but that's middle school.
Yeah, she was probably tall as shit in middle school and was beaten up.
Girls tend to get taller earlier than boys do in that age.
I don't know if she was playing. I guess she was playing against boys. I don't know if she was playing against boys. I feel like some states might just have
girls. She probably was. I don't think there's usually a lot of enough girls to do a
I don't know.
Football
in different parts of the country. Like my high school didn't, but I feel like in certain parts of the country they might. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But she said she averaged 4 sacks a game.
That's
her
good?
own.
Yeah?
I don't know if those are official stats or not, but I was like, wait, how? And then I started noticing, like, oh, she is actually kind of tall, though. So
okay.
I could see why maybe she was dominant.
Okay.
Okay. Also, okay, so in Jerome, we go back to Jerome for a second. In his sad apartment montage, he had a Seattle Seahawks blanket on his couch.
Okay.
And then later, he's actually going to show off his phone background, which is the number 12 with the Seattle Seahawks colors, and people are American enough to know that was Seattle. I think Harim, or maybe Sora. No, Sora. I think Sora seems like a big sports fan. I think so. Sora, Sora knew who it was, and some of the other guys did maybe. So I don't know why he was allowed to do that. And then he they
kind of talk about it oh wait, you can't that's gonna give things away.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh no, that's just where I went to college. But it felt like he might have just been coming up with that lie on the spot to cover it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But then also when they're showing Harim's intro package, they cut to a city skyline that I think has the Space Needle in it.
Yeah, somebody definitely has the Space Needle.
Maybe they could have just been using B-roll or stock photo.
I guess
images. I don't know.
They're just trying to throw us off. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but there's a chance that Harim and Jerome are both from Seattle.
Is it Harim or Harim?
It could be Harim. I mean, usually in Korean, the I's are E's, so that's why I'm saying Harim. But is it even Korean? Or is it a made-up non-Korean name?
It feels Korean.
It feels Korean, yeah. It could be It could be Harim. I'm just doing the usual, romanization.
Okay.
But we can say Harim.
I don't know. I don't remember picking up one way or the other. And again, they were not showing their names in Hangul, so I don't
know. All right. That's everything, I think. Right? Yeah. Everyone. Sorry. Everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not everything.
Everyone.
Everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. End of show.
All right. All right. They drink.
But it's just fizzy juice or something, right? They're not. I think they talk about that.
Oh, it wasn't champagne.
Actually,
it wasn't actually champagne.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay. Then we have the scene where they all talk about whether they choose honorifics or not, which is kind of interesting compared to how this usually goes. They usually don't. I don't know if it's because they're older or if they're. I feel like it's probably because they're more American. Usually they people individually decide.
Yeah, like on dates and stuff. Yeah. Whereas
or
this
even
is just like
yeah.
Tom as a group is like, let's just drop it until
Yeah,
we
Tom's
figure
just
out
like,
how
I
old people
fucking
are.
hate this shit. Let's just not do this. But so I feel like probably the majority of them were cool with dropping honorifics, but I feel like some of them didn't really agree to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were just kind of outvoted. And I think later, like somebody, it might have been Hareem, I'm not sure.
I think it is her, yeah.
Yeah, she is using the honorifics with somebody, and they're like, "Oh, don't use the honorifics." But
She's just like, I can't
I can't.
drop them.
I can't. You seem older. It's actually, you can actually kind of take it as an insult, right? Because they
Or
don't
I
know
don't
each
know,
other's age, so it's
maybe.
like,
Well, she's been in the U.S. since she was 4. Maybe she literally only knows Korean with honorifics.
oh,
It's a
that's possible.
possibility.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
because so it's, we find out Jerome, Hareem, and Ricky say that they're not confident with their Korean.
Yeah.
Jerome and Ricky are obviously even obvious to us, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking English more, so yeah,
Right.
shows their lack of confidence. Hareem, they say, does speak Korean well, but you're right. Like maybe she only knows how to do it with honorifics or something.
Or is just used to only using honorifics.
Yeah,
like,
something
you
like
know,
that. Yeah, that could be it.
like she
That's a good
only
point.
uses it with her parents and they're older and therefore honorifics or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that makes sense. That would make a lot of sense, actually. All right. Yeah. Benita was born in Paraguay, specifically. We also find out.
Oh, right.
So it's Paraguay and Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. House exploring.
Yep. We get 2 rooms per gender. There's a men's room with 3, and a men's room with 2, and a women's room with 3, and a women's room with 2. I feel like the only really big discrepancy is between the 2 women's rooms. Like there's one really fancy one that has an ocean view and a 2-story closet, and the other one's just like, you can see the driveway from here, which is silly.
Yeah. Well, the other discrepancy is the location of the rooms, the entries to the
that's
rooms.
true.
So one of the men's bedroom with 3 is like a distance away down the hall from the other 3 bedrooms.
It's like clearly what was intended to be the like primary suite of this house, right? Like it's off on its own. You know, the others
seems
are
like
more
the women. It seemed like that fancy ass women's room.
Well, that is true. They do have that fancy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, then we have the doors for the women's rooms and the remaining men's room like really close together. So strategically, as a dude, you'd want to get in that room.
Yeah, and then I think specifically the men's room with 2 and the women's room with 2 are like at the very end of the hall, and the doors are like facing each other.
Right. Yeah. So prime location right there.
Yeah, definitely where you want to be. There's also like a pool table, hangout room, a gym, fancy pool. Mm-hmm. Pretty nice place.
Yeah.
So the guys just kind of decide through
based on snoring.
Sense. Yeah, based on snoring. So Jerome and Jimmy get the closer bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ricky,
Tom, Dewey.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then the women, like, since there's such a big difference between the rooms, they just do rock, paper, scissors to decide draft order.
Yeah.
And then the first 2 pick the nice ass room. But then Heejin
is strategic about shit.
Yeah. I'm actually saying Heejin and not Heejin, so maybe I should be. So I'll say Harin. Wait, what is her name? No, Harim. Yeah, there you go.
Harim?
Yeah, Harim. Yeah. It almost sounds like harem, though. So I'm like, I feel like I'm almost saying that if I say Harim.
Got it. Okay.
Which, yeah, that's fine too, I guess. All right. Yeah, so Heejin could take the 3rd spot in the fancy room, but actually decides to take the smaller bedroom strategically, which
yes,
that's points in my book, you know, going with strategy over, you know, she's prioritizing the participation in the show,
right,
more than I want to be on the show to be like go on vacation,
right, yeah.
So
she's playing the game. She's here to win.
It's not even about playing the game. It's just like a sense of being there to actually do what I want people to do when they get to be on the show, you know, like. So what happens is, I think Sora then benefits from this, right? And then she gets to be the 3rd person, and then in the fancy room, and then Jisoo didn't get to pick, but she says maybe she would have also done what Heejin did. I'm not sure.
I mean, we do see Heejin and Jisoo, like they give us a little flashback of them checking out the smaller room earlier and talking about it strategically.
Yeah, but Jisoo didn't get to prove with a choice like Heejin did, so Heejin gets more points.
Okay, fair.
But then like later, like because they have the fancy room, they can like put all their clothes in the closet, and like I don't know, they have there's a lot of things they can do in their room because it's so fancy. And then they take forever to come downstairs and do the grocery and
so they lose out on a chance to.
So they all get defaulted to cooking because they were in the fancy room.
Yep.
So yeah.
Don't pick the fancy room. Pick the room that's closer to the other people.
Yeah. At this point, I was like, all right, Heejin and Jisoo. I think it's with Sora. I think it's where I was like more out on Sora. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Then we get a little bit of people talking. Jerome asks Dewey, like, "Oh, is there somebody you like?" And then Dewey actually says a name.
Yeah, that I feel rarely happens at the beginning of these things, but he's just like, "No, I like Jisoo. Jisoo is who I'm after. Who are you into?" And Jerome's like, "I'm not telling you shit."
He just said there's two. Well, Jerome said there's two.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't say who it was. Yeah. But at the same time, Dewey in this scene didn't actually remember Jisoo's name. He was just like the one.
Oh yeah, he was describing her. Yeah, that's
totally fair. I understand.
Yeah,
that would totally be me on these shows. I'd be like, I don't really remember her name, but I liked her. And then let's get to the grocery time.
Yeah, apparently stamps are a big deal on this show.
But is it only for this thing? And only for grocery cooking? It's like later too.
I think it's also for later. They all have a big stamp with their name on it, and there's a board where there are pieces of paper under grocery team and cooking team. And there's no real like anything to who picks what when. It's just you can go up and stamp your name under either team, as long as there's space there. And so it does become an interesting, like, how do people decide to, like, do they go first and then try to gain information about who might be interested in them based on other people picking near them? Or do they wait for the person they're into to stamp and then just try to make sure they're with them, you know?
Yeah.
It's an interesting sort of
waiting
dynamic.
is definitely... if you can wait and then constantly like keep your eye on the board, that's like the best way to do it. But that's kind of like a weird social way to handle it.
Well, it depends on if you're trying to get information or just optimize like hanging out with the person you're into. You know, like there's different ways to look at it during different times too, probably.
I mean, we've talked about this. I think we put our stamp on which is better, grocery or cooking, in the last show we watched. What was the last one we watched? I forget what
the older generation one.
We said, cooking is just the better choice in terms of participating in the show, and cooking is the better choice. However, if you actually are vibing with somebody, then you might want to just wait to see what they think. But if that person's not choosing cooking, is that points against them? So I don't know.
Is that really what's gonna like make decisions for you on this show? Like you could be really into somebody, but they're not playing it strategically, and therefore it's just a big turnoff for you?
I think for me, it's like I know cooking is better, so I might just be the first person to grab the stamp and hit cooking, and be like,
okay,
let people decide, right?
But I still want the answer to my question. Would someone not play, like if you were on this show and you're trying to date people, like let's say you're authentically playing it.
Yeah.
If the person you're interested in is not playing strategically, does that turn you off? Like, would you no longer be interested in them because they're not playing the game right?
I mean, it's not really a game. It's just they're not. I don't know. They're not sharing the same perspective on how the experience, what this experience is for. I guess. So yeah, I guess.
So is that enough to like?
I mean, if I was actually vibing with somebody and I saw them do grocery, I'd be like, all right, let's do some grocery. But if everybody was sitting there and not doing anything, I'd probably just be like, well, chances are cooking's better, so let's just do cooking.
But like outside of like just if they consistently make dumb, not strategic moves.
Well, yeah, then yeah.
Is that enough to be like, yeah, I'm not into this person anymore?
But it certainly doesn't help.
Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't think anything about Heejin, and then Heejin was like, I'm taking the smaller room, and I was like, let's go, Heejin.
Well, yeah, clearly I see it working in one direction. I was just wondering if it also works in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it does, because the other girls didn't even consider taking the other room. They were just like, bigger room, let's go, vacation. So it definitely works the other
Okay.
way. All right. So we know cooking is better. We just know that.
Yeah.
Also, can we just talk about this for a second?
Uh-huh.
It, it, does every show need a grocery and cooking episode? Is this content so good that every single show needs to do it, except for Singles Inferno because thematically it doesn't make sense.
I mean, they still do the cooking segment though.
They do cooking, but they
think...
do not go grocery because they just they just order food when they go to Paradise. But yeah, is this segment so good that we just need? Is it for me? I think the segment is whatever, but I think production it's just more efficient for them to just make them go grocery shopping.
I think that's what it might be, but I also wonder if like this cooking together situation is like important in Korean dating. Like maybe it's real important that people know who can cook or not. I might just be making this up, but maybe
I think that's good.
part of it.
I think that's
like I think that's a valid thing to like. Yeah. I just don't know if that is inherently important to Korean people when they're figuring out who to date, or if this is just a this is what dating shows do situation.
I just feel like it's what to me it's like I mean I guess like production might not want to deal with like figuring out what they actually want to eat and getting the food for them, you know, like taking requests and then doing the like it might just be easier from that standpoint, and then they make it into like this, oh, we're gonna divide up for groups. But to me it's like, wouldn't it just be nice for them all to be at the house and all be allowed to cook if they wanted to, and not just like say you're on the cooking team?
Well, that's every other day on the show, right? That's pretty much like all the like structure around, okay, half of the team has to go get groceries and, you know, we have to rotate through who cooks, disappears on day 2 and people are just cooking whenever and grocery shopping whenever. I think the shows like to break them up into smaller groups to like give folks a reason to show that they're maybe interested in a person so they can start building the story early.
Yeah. I just think it's a lack of creativity though. Like,
oh yeah,
we could do something else.
Fair. Yeah.
Somebody can come up with an idea where, you know, first night, maybe you I don't know, maybe you like randomly assign them into groups and then they have to go like down to the beach and do this. Like Singles Inferno kind of did that actually, right? In like season 1, where it's like, all right, you team, you have to go together to like get water from the water station down the beach, you know? Like I feel like, I don't know, I just mix it up a little bit, you know? I don't know. Also, like there's a point in this where like Jerome went grocery shopping, but then he helps Benita cut up something, which is like, is that breaking the rules?
That frequently happens.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I just don't. I think ultimately I've just decided like it's just a production, like production benefits from doing this way, and it's not actually to me. It's not actually an attempt to like make the episode more interesting. It's just this is what we do because it's like the cheapest way for us to deal with this or something like that. I don't know.
That probably makes sense.
It's just kind of crazy to me that
it's every single show. Yeah,
it's every single show, and it's like it's always like episode 1. I don't know. they have to go get food on the first day, I guess, every time, but whatever. It's fine. It just I think we could do something.
Yeah.
Like this is season 4 of the 10th show we've watched.
And it is like more apparent when we're jumping through and testing out a bunch of different shows than just watching the first 2 episodes. Is okay every single time, just cooking and grocery shopping.
Honestly, I think Heart Signal 4 might have done this the best, right? Where I don't even know, did they actually do groceries? They had a day where like they had chores or like errands to run.
Oh yeah, like they had to get plants
they made them go in pairs
or houseware. Yeah, I think that was like day 2.
Like that was completely like artificial nonsense. Like they didn't need to go get those things.
Absolutely.
But that was better to watch than this.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I don't know. And that's just one variation. You know,
yeah,
we can try multiple things. I don't know.
Yeah, I think definitely room for more creative things to be.
I'm talking about Heart Signal a lot. Do I want to watch Heart Signal again? Wait, when's Heart Signal 5 coming out?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is that my favorite one now? Heart. Oh no, Love Catcher was the best so far. Heart Signal 5. Wait, is this a thing?
Is it not a thing?
Wait, what did we watch? Oh, this must be like. Oh, this is the Chinese version.
Oh yeah, looks like Heart Signal 5 was in Shanghai.
No. That's the yeah. That's like the Chinese version.
So that's Heart Signal 5 Chinese version is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Not just
Right, I don't know if
suddenly
they're to make
the
a Heart
fifth
Signal
season
5.
is okay.
No, it's from 2000. It's like the Heart Signal
Oh
season.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
from 2022 or 2022. All right. Well, I don't know. I maybe I'm itching. I'm itching for some Heart Signal, I guess. Yeah, I brought it up as the better variation in number of ways in this episode alone. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, they still did cook and grocery shop night 1.
Did they? I actually don't remember that.
I thought they
did.
did.
Do that and then they did the errands.
I think the errands were day 2, I thought.
Oh, okay, maybe yeah.
Or maybe
I don't know.
they just cooked and then 2 people went out for groceries after, right?
Yeah, I remember something weird happened where
Yeah. Okay.
it definitely was different. Maybe it wasn't that different though. All right, let's get through this grocery and cooking segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you do, sir? I kind of said what I would do.
I mean, yeah, like you want to be in the group where there's more people. Cooking makes sense.
I don't even think it's about the more people. It's just, I mean, you're more likely to have the person if you don't want to wait. Like, you're more likely to have the person that you might be interested, as long as you pick the bigger group. But to me, it's like I would take cooking if it was 6 people. Like, so they have 4 people in grocery and 6 people in cooking. I would still take cooking if it was 4 people in cooking and 6 in groceries. That's how much better I think cooking is than grocery on these shows.
Okay, say more. Why is cooking that much better when it's not a number of people advantage?
Like, cooking with somebody is way more intimate to me than like deciding what to buy at the grocery store.
Okay.
But I mean,
when they go to the grocery store, people do tend to go off in very discrete pairs. Whereas when you're cooking, everybody's cooking in the same area. So even if you're trying to just cook with one person, everybody's up in your business.
Yeah, but the cooking team is also staying behind, not grocery shopping,
that is
doing
true.
whatever the hell they want.
That is true.
Before cooking starts. We've seen so much happen on cooking segments in these shows, and very little happen in grocery segments on these shows.
That's true.
I think we have enough data now to just be like, cooking's going to be better more often than not.
Okay.
Dare I say, if there were only 2 people cooking? Well, wasn't Heart Signal is like some people's shows have like, a man and a woman have to cook dinner each night.
Every night, yeah. So it's supposed to be just a 2-person pair.
Yeah, I take night.
Oh, but speaking of Heart Signal, I think what they did is they cooked, and then it was 2 people went out, and they ended up being a couple at the end. Like, right, like it was just 2 people went for grocery shopping.
Did they go for groceries or something else though?
Or it's like they essentially went to a grocery store, right? It was.
I remember this whole thing where like she didn't drink, but he did, so then she had to drive, and I forget why they had to go. I don't know if it was groceries or.
But like
what?
This trip to the store is like solidified his like
also that
super
they're not
crush on her the whole
at the end of
time.
the show, but they are not in a relationship, so who cares?
That's true. That is true.
They're absolutely not in a relationship, and she didn't even pick like. He wasn't even she picked him, but he wasn't her first pick.
Yeah, you're right.
So that is a terrible example. All right, where are we? Yeah, how does this play out?
Yeah, so we have Jimmy puts his stamp on groceries.
Are you sure? Was it Dewey?
Dewey puts his stamp on cooking.
Or Louis.
And then it was one of the ducks. And basically, they both kind of want to see who might be interested in them. So that's why they stamped quick. And then immediately 2 of the girls stamped under groceries. And it was, what was it? Heejin and Jisoo, because they were the ones not in the fancy room. And then all the other girls who just didn't realize they should be down and doing things because they were in their fancy room got stuck with groceries.
Cooking.
And our cookie.
Yeah. And then Jerome is going to tack on as the 4th for groceries. Jerome is the only one we see say like, "Oh, I pick groceries because I can't cook." But do we think that Jisoo and Heejin like they just pick groceries because Jimmy picked groceries?
I think so. Yeah.
So it's less of like a. It's not like they're trying to stay away from Dewey.
They're not trying to stay away from Dewey, but they are very decisively not picking Dewey.
But you think even at this point, like Jimmy's superpower is already taking effect, and he's
I think so.
He already has that energy.
Well, I forget. Wait, did Jerome stamp before or after the girls? I don't remember because one of them.
After, I think.
Okay, because one of them is I think Jisoo is interested in Jimmy and Heejin ends up being interested in Jerome. So like you see them kind of strategically pick where they sit in the car going to the groceries and like pair off. Like the girls seem to be pairing off strategically at this point.
Okay.
Based on who they're interested in.
Okay, got it. All right. Yeah. So then the cooking team feels out with the guys. Just once the groceries filled up, they have to pick cooking.
Right.
And then the women come down and realize they missed the entire segment of the show. And that
Yes.
they will be cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also works out where it's everybody's with their roommates. So the double men's room and the double women's room are going grocery shopping, and then the triple men and the triple women are going to be cooking. So yeah. At this point in my notes, I actually wrote like this grocery team is stacked. I was like, are these the best 4 people in the house? But I think I would swap out Jimmy for Ricky at least.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I didn't get a lot from Jisoo for the most part.
But not a lot of negatives either, though.
Not negatives, no. But I think like if I'm picking people that I like at this point in the show,
I think I kind of like Benita by the end of episode 2, actually.
I do like Benita, but I think I like Heejin and Harim, and then Ricky and Jerome. I think those are the 4 I really like. I think by the end of this.
Okay. Yeah, Ricky and Jerome, I think are definitely top 2 men. Yeah, women is actually harder. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you said, they partner up. Again, grocery shopping, it's never that long of a segment compared to the cooking segment.
Yeah.
So again,
but
if you want to be on the show, be the cooking team.
Well, are you trying to be on the show or are you trying to like cozy up with somebody?
Both. But like,
because I do think the grocery team had a good time cozying up with people.
If you watch enough of these shows, you'll know the cozying up happens a lot of time during the cooking. So
yeah, but I do
you
think
get both things by doing cooking.
This grocery team was pretty successful at cozying up, I think.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, we'll get to a segment later. We'll see about that.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's Jisoo and Jimmy and Heejin and Jerome. I was I'm already team He Jerome Jin already.
Yeah.
I was into it by the end of episode 1. Benita would have been very helpful for translating the grocery items, though.
That is true.
So
yes,
that was a missed
100%.
All the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they again? Cacao. No, not cacao. Cancun. Definitely not cacao. Okay.
No, not at all.
All right, episode 2. We learned the hosts tell us we get a little host segment at the beginning of episode 2. We learned that there were a ton of applicants for season 4 of the show. I'm assuming in comparison to what do they normally get.
Well, in theory, they're pulling from a large crowd of American folks.
Well, you could say, there's more people in America, but are there more Korean American?
Oh, that's
people
true. That's
America?
fair. Yeah, there's more Koreans in Korea than there are Koreans in America. You're absolutely right. Maybe they just meant they got more than they expected, or maybe just Korean Americans are more likely to want to be on TV.
I think that's what it is. I think it's something about maybe even though Korea has all these shows, maybe they actually don't get that many applicants, which is fair. I mean, especially for these dating shows, I think it's a little like personal to put yourself on these shows compared to
especially like one about divorce. Like me, I don't know
one about
how taboo being divorced in Korea is.
That actually might be that could be a huge factor. There's not like a sense. There might not be as much of a sense of like shame or whatever that might come with being a divorcee in America versus, I don't know. Who knows?
Lots of reasons it might be different, yeah.
So I don't know if this is normal, but they actually talk about how there was 4 stages to the application process.
I love this like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Great. So they had to submit a written application.
Mm-hmm.
They say paper in the subtitles, but I think they might have done it online.
Yeah.
Then they get called for a phone interview, and then they do a video chat, and then they do an in-person interview.
Yeah,
that's pretty intense. That's pretty intense.
And they specifically said that the in-person was in the US, so they didn't make all of these people fly to Korea.
Oh yeah,
they flew out to meet them instead.
I would hope so. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty close to like how the Survivor one is.
Yeah.
Except the first step in the Survivor one is like you have to make a 3-minute video and submit it. It's not just a written application. And then Survivor has like 3, like I think they do in-person interviews with like 50 people, but like 3 times, like with 3 groups of 50 people or something. So a little more intense for Survivor, but I was cool to hear. It's cool to hear that
how this works.
Yeah, how this works, and they at least made it seem like a lot of people actually try to be on this show. All right, let's get to the cooking team now. The cooking team didn't even make it into episode 1 of the show. These episodes are 90 minutes.
It's the pacing so far could be improved 100%.
They're not even cooking yet. They're just waiting for the groceries.
Waiting for the grocery team, yeah. But they are actually sharing hobbies, which I find other shows, no one ever talks about their hobbies, and it drives me crazy.
And they actually seem very sporty, at least the ones that we get to hear.
Oh yeah.
Like, so Ricky actually plays basketball, not like, or at least he doesn't make it seem like it's a professional thing, but and then so does Sora also plays basketball, or is at least an NBA fan.
Yeah, and she's trying to figure out his favorite team to sneakily figure out where he lives.
Yeah. Like what's your local NBA team? That definitely would give it away. But yeah, sports people, let's go. Fun to see.
And then Dewey tells them he's in a band and he plays all instruments, but he is mediocre at them.
Yeah, that's impressive.
All right. But he could have left the mediocre part off.
Well, he didn't want to make it seem like he's like the master of all instruments, like it's like, yeah, I know how to play all the instruments, but I'm not like I couldn't be in like the,
I just think at this point Dewey needs to do himself some favors, and maybe describing himself as mediocre is not doing himself some favors.
I still thought that was impressive. He's just saying it how it is.
Okay.
I didn't take it as a negative. It's just like, yeah, I like to learn how to play every instrument, but I'm not like the master of any of them. Respect.
Okay.
You could pick up any instrument and make it sound decent. That's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, so he should have made it sound like that instead of saying things that translate to mediocre.
It's fine. All right. Also, there's like a Christmas light pirate ship with fireworks in their backyard. I don't know what happened.
Oh yeah, like I was like, is there a rave on a pirate ship out here? What is happening? And yeah, they were like, are these fireworks for us? And I'm like, I don't know. I still can't tell.
I don't think they were. It wasn't actually like in their backyard, but they could see it from their ocean view. And then Ricky and Harim flirt over not being great at speaking Korean.
Yeah, and the host kind of roast her for being good at Korean and thinks she might just be faking it as a way to flirt with Ricky,
but she might be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you think actually I feel like that is real though.
What?
Well,
that she is,
because Harim definitely
pretending to be worse than she is. Oh yeah, she definitely 100% likes him.
I don't know if she's pretending to be. I don't think she's pretending to be worse than she is, but she's like, I don't know. Did she I think she instigated this hey, Ricky, you and I should only speak Korean to each other.
You can practice with me and then we'll get better. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ricky says something in English. She's like, no, speak it in Korean. And then he tries. And then, the subtitles got a little janky. So I think he was saying something a little off.
Even as a non-Korean speaker, you can tell that he's fumbling over it. And it is honestly a little adorable. But yeah, it doesn't sound like that when she speaks Korean. It just sounds like she knows Korean.
Yeah. All right. Grocery team gets back.
Mm-hmm.
Tom might be a neat freak. He might be.
Yeah. He organizes the fridge.
There's multiple levels to this.
Immediately.
We need to discuss this.
He puts bananas in a bowl to put in the fridge.
Do you put bananas in the fridge? Is this a thing?
I don't put bananas in the fridge. And if I did, I would
I'm
just put
Googling
them in the
this.
fridge. I wouldn't put them in a bowl.
Definitely not.
Because, but he's like, no, if it's touching the shelf, then the shelf will get gross. And I'm like, they're bananas, my dude. As long as you don't let them rot in there, you're good.
Oh, here's the fun fact.
Uh-huh.
You can put bananas in the fridge to make them last longer, but only after they are ripe. Oh, I might have to start doing this. I definitely
I
might
think
be
there's
starting to do
also
this.
something about the gases that get released from like the stem of a banana
Oh, you can like
cause
wrap
other
them.
things to ripen faster or something. They might like fuck with your other vegetables and fruits.
Depending on where you put them in the fridge, yeah. Yeah, that's why they have like, sometimes they have like wrap on the top of the banana. Yeah.
Yeah. But so like that's more of a
Okay.
reason to not put it in the fridge because I don't want it fucking with my other produce.
Okay. I mean, you can put them in separate drawers or put them
Oh,
in a
seems too
bowl with a
close.
lid.
He did not put a lid.
He did not put a lid on it, no.
Not put a lid.
I
But
feel like
yeah,
he would have
everything
if he
else
had
was
found
just
one.
like perfectly at the right angles and stuff too. I think somebody mentioned like, yeah, he's very just like it must be such a. This
So
way.
the banana thing threw me off because it was like 2 steps of I've never done this before. We're putting bananas in the fridge and they're in a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Do you think this is a good characteristic to display when trying to woo a bunch of divorced women? I don't know. Maybe it's like, oh, he knows how to keep a fridge tidy. Nice. Because, like, you got to think about after a divorce, you're probably looking for slightly different characteristics in a partner than
Doesn't
the first
seem
time
like
around,
it.
right?
Doesn't seem
Well,
like
yeah,
it based on the descriptions we're getting.
That's fair. I just would think that would be the case, you know, like you would, I don't know, value a different set of things, and maybe keeping a fridge tidy is one of those things. I don't know.
But maybe it's the same, you don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I don't know.
if you're a person that likes that kind of thing, you're gonna like it. But it's not points for me, that's for sure. It's not like really a negative, but yeah, it's another thing that would be like a little bit worried about. So I feel like it's an indication of maybe some other like
Oh, you're like persnickety about how things are, and I'm not,
yeah,
so this isn't gonna work out. Yeah. I get
it
that.
could
Yeah.
definitely be a thing.
I
It
would be
could
like,
just
I'm not an
be
organized fridge person. We're not gonna get along well. Sorry.
if it's just the fridge, who cares? But I'm like kind of like extrapolating it to like it's potentially could carry over into other things. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Jerome is gonna help cook. I guess that's allowed.
Yeah, it does seem like Benita is like showing him how to like chop things or whatever.
But
So
he
you
asked
get
for
that
help,
cute
and
little
that's why he
moment.
helps.
Is that what? But I do feel like he was like cutting something, and then she's like, "No, do it this way."
I think that's with Ricky, isn't it?
I think that is also true
Okay.
because it starts with Jerome, and then somebody shoos him away because they're like, "You were on the grocery team," and he's like, "But I'm flirting with this lady. Leave me be." But he gets shooed away.
But the only reason Jerome helped is because somebody asked him because he chose to be on a grocery team because he didn't want
Or
to
did he
cook,
choose
but
to help because he was
he might
eyeing
like
Benita? Like, I
Yeah.
think that's what it was. Because after he gets shooed away, they show him just outside of the kitchen, just staring at her while she chops, you know?
They made
Like,
a moment out of that. I don't know. He was so the thing is he was waiting for something. Like he asked somebody on the cooking team to like bring him like silverware or something so he could set the table. And he was
oh,
like
that's
waiting.
right.
He was waiting at the door
Okay.
at the window to the kitchen and
Okay.
he was looking at Benita but they made a whole like, oh, he's sticking around just look Benita. But I was like, he's also waiting for something though, but okay.
I forgot about he was trying to set the table. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, does he pick Benita for his?
Yeah, he does pick Benita at
He
the
does
end, I
pick
think.
Benita. Yeah, he does like Benita, but he is looking at her, but let's not forget he was awesome.
He's just trying to set the fucking table. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, but we do have this great move where then, okay, so he gets shooed away, and then Ricky moves in to cut whatever, and then like Harem's around, like trying to flirt with him, and then just straight up moves between him and Benita, and is like, no, I'll take over showing this man how to cook.
Yeah, Harem is like
Putting the work in.
She's hard flirting with Ricky.
Yeah, 100%.
It's it should be obvious to Ricky and everybody else that this is happening.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Other thing I noticed is that the kitchen sink in this house has the exact same faucet that my new house had when we moved in.
Oh, really?
Until my wife broke it because it's like it's a faucet that doesn't have like a hose in it for like extending. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, okay.
But
Uh-huh.
it looks like it is.
Oh, so did she just like full on yank it out the
She
sink?
pulled it. Well, she pulled it hard enough that it like started. It got a leak in it. But yeah, it looks exactly the same. So let's. I'm just looking out. Maybe somebody
You're
breaks
just
the
waiting
sink.
for somebody to
Somebody's
break the
gonna
sink.
break the sink
All
at some
right.
point. That's my guess.
Okay. Okay.
Bold prediction of the season.
That's gonna be the big drama of the whole season. Who
Yeah, there
broke
you
the
go.
sink?
All right. All right. Eventually, they start eating. Right.
Yeah, they actually go through a whole song and dance about figuring out who sits with who. They're like, oh no, we
Makes
got to
sense.
mix up the grocery team and the cooking team, and we have to sit boy girl. Like
Makes
these
sense.
people are like, we need to make this shit happen.
I don't hate it. It's a reason to sit somewhere, but
Yeah, it was just funny because you like don't like
nobody
see that on other
actually knew.
shows.
Yeah.
Nobody actually talks about it. You
It
know,
seemed reasonable.
yeah.
You gotta at least go boy girl boy girl. That's no brainer.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Jerome forgets Heejin's name.
Yeah.
So much
and
for
she
Team
is-
Grocery.
Yeah, she is real off put by that one. I think he does it twice too. Like he calls her by the wrong name later then. And
Yeah.
she's just like, mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it was a whole thing from Heejin's perspective, but then we're gonna find out later that Heejin was not one of the two women that Jerome was talking about when he was talking to Julie earlier. So it wasn't as dramatic as it actually was, because the reason that Jerome may have not known her name is because he was not interested in her to begin with.
Yeah. He did do this whole thing where he's like, I get confused about Korean names. Just tell me your English name. And she's like, no, this is my
That
name.
I thought that was actually kind of disrespectful from Jerome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like that, like I don't know. Maybe he felt comfortable doing it because he is Korean. But like, can you imagine like like you or I saying that to a Korean person? Can you just like
this
come
is
up
right
with
up there
another
with the
name?
eyes thing. Like I'm like, nope,
It's
not
way
going
worse.
anywhere near
It's
that shit.
way worse. It's way
Oh yeah, but it's in the same category of like these are just things I am not gonna do.
I mean, you can say it to
I would
anybody.
never do.
If I was like, Sarah,
Well, that's true.
it's hard to remember your name. Could you just like come up with a new one that I can remember? Like, that's just crazy.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That'd be
know.
pretty
Yeah,
bad no matter what.
See,
Yeah,
Jerome
you're
is
right.
like, I like Jerome, but there's a couple of weird things. That he's
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
that I'm a little sketched out by.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's another one coming up that I'm like, I cannot believe you did that, my man. But okay.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about necessarily from that, but okay, we'll get to it. Yeah, so Heejin's disappointed, and then Ricky swoops in to flirt with Heejin immediately.
I feel like
That's not
Ricky
actually
is
true,
ready
but
to
I like
flirt
that.
with everyone. Is great. You know,
They just
like,
happen to be sitting near each other, but
Yeah.
I like the idea that I like the timeline where Jerome like forgets Heejin's name, and then Ricky's like, "So Heejin, how are you doing?" I know your name, Heejin.
I'm bad at Korean, but I can remember Heejin.
Yeah, it's
Let's
not.
go.
Korean names are actually very easy to remember for me. Also, are Korean names that hard to remember? With a little bit, of work. I guess maybe we just watched enough of these shows that
Yeah,
it's not that.
I mean,
bad,
but we're still out here probably mispronouncing them.
mispronouncing them for sure. But like, I'm not getting confused between like who Jisoo is and who. I mean, we're seeing the names written out and stuff. I mean, I get it.
Well, especially
I'm
in
not
this
gonna remember
case, like
names
sometimes there have been seasons of things where people, because the names are 2 syllables and they're common syllables that make up some of. So like you'll get a lot of something jins, or like just sometimes there'll be like 2 people with the same like beginning syllable, and then it's easy to get mixed up between. But that isn't even what's happening here at all. He's just straight up like, I can't remember it. It's Korean. Sorry.
I mean, I understand not remembering people's names because I just don't like. I don't take that step most of the time when I hear somebody's name to be like, all right, let me just internalize this and remember to remember their name.
Yeah, like I remember faces better than names.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
But if like somebody, if I got to see somebody's name like written out, it's not going to be like harder to remember because it's a Korean name.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I'm not really following Jerome on this so much.
Yeah,
I think he got flustered and he tried to come up with a reason why he forgot her name, and then he came up with some bullshit.
And it made it even worse.
It made it even worse.
Just showed up to begin with. Yep.
Yeah. I forgot your name,
again,
but also
this is not
like,
who he's
isn't it your
in,
fault for having that name though?
Yeah. Why don't you conform and give us an English name? Come on.
Yeah, I'll give you your own name. Jenny. It starts with a J. It's pretty much the same thing. Oh wait, you're not Jisoo. You're Heejin.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. um, the downside of being confident is that you're also not good with names. You're gonna fuck that shit up.
Yeah. This is why I just don't use names when I talk.
This is why I'm just not a confident person. It's really just a cautious thing.
Both of those things.
It really benefits me a lot.
It's surprising how far you can get in conversations with never knowing or speaking anybody's name. If you're just talking to them, it's real easy. Just avoid names.
Yeah, until you need their attention or to need to reference them specifically.
And then you go, "Hey, buddy, what's up?"
All right. So apparently on the show they do each day they reveal a piece of information.
This is kind of interesting and different from other things.
I like that it has an official structure.
Yeah. But it sounds like the order is always different. Maybe
production can switch it up. Yeah, do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But
so the things that they are not allowed to say until the night they're supposed to share are their jobs, age, area of residence, reason for divorce, and number of children.
And apparently number of children is usually the last thing that gets revealed, but they speculate that potentially on this season where they live might be the last thing that's revealed, because that's
or at least like the cruelest thing, like the thing that people want to know the most, that they'll probably put towards the end.
It's actually more important in the US version than how many kids they have, just because of how unrealistic it is to
But that, from a production standpoint, is even more of a reason to put it off, because like you come out night one and you tell everybody where you're from and be like, nope, not even gonna try to connect with this person who's from the other side of the country, because that's just a non-starter. Whereas if you put it towards the end, then oops, we already have feelings or whatever bullshit. So
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how like committed you are to like, oh, the person that I connect with on the show like needs to be my like spouse or whatever.
Like, well, I mean, at least like continuing some sort of a relationship is the like fake fantasy we're buying into watching the show, right?
Yeah,
that's the.
I'm just saying, if you're on, like, if I was on the show, I think I would just continue to connect with the people that I connected with and not
worry about it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever be like so desperate to be like, well, this isn't gonna work out for a long-term relationship, so why am I even bothering? I think you just have a good time and then see what happens.
Yeah, that's usually the best approach in life. But yeah, I could see why not everybody would take that approach, and production might benefit from. I don't
really see that, but okay.
Okay. I mean, in one case specifically, when we get into these reasons for divorce, somebody's like, long distance was a problem. So
yeah, but I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is, just have a good time on the show with the person you're connecting with, and then if you don't continue your relationship after the show, like, that's a better way to do it than to be like, all right, I have to totally pivot my interests because of where you live and not continue just to like connect with you while we're here. I don't know.
Some people,
I wouldn't expect it to grow into anything after the show, but I'd be like, but this is the person I connected with, so that's what I'm going to do.
But some people might be afraid that, like, they will make a strong connection. Yeah, and then it's going to hurt more later.
Oh, okay. All right. We're revealing reason for divorce on
and this is not like, there's no doorbell, there's no letter, there's just a chalkboard out in the lawn with a blanket over it, which is a fun change too.
Which they just kind of acted like that appeared out of nowhere also, which was weird. They're like, oh, what is that? Maybe we should take this off. I don't know. That was a weird moment. All right, let's do these. I mean, this is honestly the best part of the show. I mean, we took we're like 2 hours into this podcast.
Yeah, this is the meat.
This is what happened. We've been doing one episode of shows for a while. We're doing 2 again, and this is what happens when we do 2 episodes of a show.
Yep.
A 90-minute per episode show. I'll remind you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right,
Tom. Slow.
Tom's going first here.
Yep, fun marriage, but their values were very different, and their personalities were different.
Yep, that'll do it.
Yep, he's an extrovert, she's an introvert. He's Korean, she's Taiwanese.
That doesn't matter.
I don't know. It's just the things that were listed in it.
Literally, we were just like, we were different people. All right, get divorced. Good job. Yeah. Solid, but nothing. It sounded like a very peaceful divorce, right?
Yeah, that is what he said. He did say that he Yeah, he was probably a bit immature and wasn't as understanding as he could have been or something. So,
well, that we know they argued, but not like more than
that's
other
true.
couples.
How would you know?
Not more than other people that get divorced. Just like the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
amount, of arguing.
The amount of arguing for divorce. Yep.
Perfect. All right. It was a perfect, like, if you're gonna get divorced, they did it exactly by the book. Tom
Mm-hmm.
did. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Sounds legit. No problems
Yeah.
from Tom's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Aram.
Her husband came from a religious family, and this is the one where she would not disclose the religion, but so there was a lot of like tension with her in-laws because they were like, you have to do these things and you can't do those things. And there was, I guess, they blamed her also for like leading the son astray from the religion in general. And it just sounds like a really controlling, bad vibe all around. And yeah, so she got a divorce so she could live.
Yep. I don't know if I should say this on the podcast or not, but yeah, religion is the root of all evil. So, yeah.
Yeah, it can really be a rough time. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a mix of like they kind of she kind of says like it's a mix of the religion plus just older Korean people's
Oh yeah, they were
perspectives in
like an older
general.
generation of Koreans and then also had the religious stuff, so they were like
Yeah.
very conservative because
Yeah.
they had it coming from two ends.
Basically the gist I got was like the dynamic was, oh, once she married into the family, then like all the men in the family basically can tell her what to do is the like is the
I
expected
think
dynamic.
that was probably I think that's probably expected dynamic, like she's supposed to be like a subservient woman or whatever, but I bet there was also pressure from the other women in the family for her to adhere to this sort of standard too, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. But that was like the if she were to give into the practices, that's she would be like if her husband's brother was like, go to the grocery store, get me this, she would like have to do it because that's her job, something like that. That's at least what it sounded like to me. Also, what religion? Tell me the religion.
She won't say. She refuses to say.
The production probably didn't let her say. Well, there you go. Get the hell out of there, Harem.
She did.
And yeah, she did.
She has a
but
better
I had
life
to read it.
now.
I had to read it anyway. I was I was saying it as if she was like telling me about the current relationship she was in. Get the hell out of there. See? I'm glad she's here on this show. Let's go. All right.
Yeah.
Jerome
says he was married for 2 years and 2 months. And it was personality differences again. That's a recurring theme among the men in this is just personality difference.
There's a recurring theme among the women and there's a recurring theme among the men.
And they are different.
Yeah. But this one did seem like it was a pretty clean divorce, at least the way he described it.
Yeah.
They actually
they
still
got married
together.
And divorced in Korea. Yeah.
Yeah. They lived together even after they got divorced, so it wasn't like so hostile that they had to separate. It was more of like at least it makes it seem like it was like this isn't going to work long term, let's get divorced, but also like we can still live together because it makes sense financially to do so.
He was famous. I looked it up and I found out his ex-wife is a famous choreographer, and so he does mention he's telling the story that he got permission from her to be on the show, but he says it's because she has a new family and they might watch the show and I didn't want it to be a thing because no one hears. Yeah, they do watch the show, and he didn't want it to be like a thing that, she might be upset about, but I think it's really because she is famous. And just no one on this show yet has figured out that he's famous, but, I mean, maybe not famous is he used to be famous.
You think if his ex-wife wasn't famous, he wouldn't have asked her? I
yeah.
think he asked her because they're not on terrible terms either.
Well, maybe that too, but I think there is an extra level of, you are an active famous person. I got to check with you that you're not worried I'm going to make you look bad by going on the show.
I mean, do you think he has kids with her potentially too? Because I think that would also influence it. Because they're not allowed to share if they have kids.
No.
So, really? I think a lot of them have kids, but they're just being good about hiding it.
He was crying at the kids.
Although he did make it seem like he didn't have kids. Or maybe he just doesn't have maybe he doesn't live with his kid anymore. I don't know. Could
Yeah,
be
but if
a different
he's
thing.
that lonely, he could move back to Korea and like hang out with his kids, you know? That's why I think he doesn't have kids.
I mean, you would think if they were on good terms, he could move back. But I mean,
Yeah, and like see them
life
from
gets
time
in
to
the
time
way.
instead of being very lonesome on his own and crying about
Yeah,
TV
but
shows with kids on them, you know? Like,
there are probably reasons he's in the U.S. also. But
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But my simplistic view of it is if he had kids, he wouldn't
okay,
we wouldn't have seen that sad scene earlier. It would have been a little different.
I think anybody would maybe ask their ex if they had kids together. If like you think it's okay if I go on the show
Okay.
for the sake of our
Yeah, yeah. I think that's
yeah.
accurate. I just think they don't have kids, and I think it was because she's famous.
Okay.
Still.
All right. Another okay breakup. All right, Benita.
Uh-huh. She was married for 6 years. This is a long distance relationship. She met a guy when she was on vacation in Korea. And because she spent her whole life basically more or less living in the US and he lived his in Korea, there were some big cultural differences and personality differences. And so yeah, this was I think the one divorce from a woman's perspective that was just like, yeah, personality differences, it's fine. Just chill.
Wait, what? This one?
Yeah.
Wait, this was. Oh, there. Wait. Well, this no. This was more of like her in-laws expected her to be like traditional Korean wife.
Oh, I guess there was that aspect to it too. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, it was very similar.
that's right.
In a
Okay.
way.
You're
To
right. I forgot. But
yeah.
she kept spinning it with yeah, we were very cool about the breakup. It's fine. So maybe I got overwhelmed with her spin on the whole thing. But yeah,
Again,
there is that
all these
part
people
in
are
it.
post-divorce, so they're all very happy, and they know.
Well, yeah, there's being happy, and then there's like, oh yeah, it was an amicable divorce. Like you could be like, it was the worst, and I'm glad I'm out of it now. But like, she just is very upbeat about the whole thing.
I think what a lot of them try to do is they try not to like bury their ex.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody, but some like they're like
Yeah.
my ex was fine, but his family sucked.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's yeah, I think that's what they mean. Like we got divorced and we agreed to get divorced together and it was fine. But
Yeah.
it but being married to him sucked because his family
Yeah.
expected me to be a traditional Korean wife, and she's yeah didn't even grow up in Korea, so
Yeah.
and even if you did grow up in Korea, maybe you don't want to do that either. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yeah, being pressured to do things she never agreed to do. Yeah, okay, all right. Sensing a theme with the women. That's what I wrote so far.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jamie.
Yeah. He married his first love just because he always wanted to. Like
Did he
not
actually
like
say that? Did he actually say
he
that?
was like, I always wanted to marry my first love.
Oh
So
my
when I got my
God.
first girlfriend, I married her.
That's so
Um,
sad. That's so sad.
Yeah. And so they got married young and he was dumb and they were married for like 3.5 years. Like they were still students when they got married. And then some stuff happened where she like took a break from school and just kind of stayed home and hung out. And he said eventually he felt like he had a daughter to take care of instead of a wife. And that's a bummer that I did not enjoy hearing.
Yeah. It's this is like the one married or the one divorced couple or separated couple or whatever that I know. I feel like this is their story, but I'm like friends with both of them. So
Okay.
it's like, yeah. I mean, this is Jimmy's perspective. It would be interesting to hear
Yeah, yeah.
his wife's
I think he
perspective.
does also
but
say that like she was a white American girl, so I don't know what that has to do with
what does
things,
that
but
have
he
to do
brought
with
it up.
anything?
I don't know. He brought it up. It's in my notes. So maybe there's some cultural expectations difference. I don't know, but there you go.
Maybe.
I don't know.
The people I know are both Caucasian Americans, so
Okay.
doesn't doesn't mean anything. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That was
Sounds reasonable. You know?
Mhm.
In any cases, literally one person's not feeling anymore. Good job. Get divorced. Let's go. Move on. Move on.
Yeah,
Be
pretty much.
happy. Look how happy these people are. All right. All right. Heejin.
Heejin fought a lot with her mother-in-law even before she married her ex, and then the fights just got worse afterwards. And
Yep.
her husband just stopped like being a mediator and just took his mom's side and was just like, "Will you just like agree with my mom?" And she's like, "Fuck this noise, I'm out." So there we go.
All right. Yeah. This it's third women's story in a row here. The show is really not painting a good picture of like Korean elders, but to be fair, American elders can be just as bad. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And I feel like a fair number of these are also Korean American elders, like we're talking about Korean folks living in America, so it's not all
Well, they talk about how it's.
not in all
I don't
cases,
know if
but some
this
of them.
was he. It might have. I think this was Heejin's story. It was something like her husband, Heejin, and her husband were first generation, or how do you say that? Are they first generation Americans? So they were born in the U.S., but their parents weren't.
Yeah, I think
So their
that's the
parents are more
case.
like Korean
Mm-hmm. But
elders,
still
and then
living in America, there's some influence that happens there. But I don't know. It's rough
yeah,
with
no,
in-laws.
honestly, yeah, there are yeah,
Terrible people everywhere.
yeah. I mean, maybe the intensity is different, but I got it. Everybody's got in-laws.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That yeah, I don't have to get into it. All right. Ricky.
Ricky was dating a girl long distance where they were flying every weekend for like 4 months.
Actually,
And
wait, can we
then
pause for a second?
yeah.
Back to Heejin. It is kind of crazy though that's like we needed to get divorced because of your mother-in-law and your mother-in-law only. But
No, no,
she
it's
says it because like
because
he
her husband wouldn't stand up for her and basically like
yeah, I
he
guess
needed to be on
so.
her side. Like that was the breaking point for her.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that would be. No, that's fair. That's fair, yeah. Yeah. If it was like, yeah, I don't really like your whatever person in your family and you're like, well, you have to like them. I'd be like, okay.
Well, I mean, I think it's also fair to be like, your entire family hates me. We don't get along. I don't think we should be together. Like if they're going to be, like, if you're trying to be in a relationship with somebody who's very active with their family and their entire family hate you for some reason, that just seems like a miserable existence. And I think it's fair to
I
call
guess.
it.
Yeah. I guess like I would just be so like if I knew I guess that's the difference. Like if I knew my family was being unreasonable, I'd be so quick to just be like fuck you guys and then still be with
Hmm.
still be with the person, right?
Yeah. But then, like, you got to think as the other person, they're going to then feel potentially a tremendous amount of guilt about, like, being the thing that got between you and your family.
I mean if it's
Like,
if it's important enough, if it's like significant enough that your family's like in the wrong, then why would the person feel guilty,
yeah.
you know?
I think there's still a reasonable amount, like, somebody might feel guilty about that, regardless of how unreasonable the family is being. Like, it's still, like, it's a sad thing.
To me it's more sad that people outside of the relationship are like forcing you to get divorced essentially. Like that's
Oh,
really
yeah,
sad.
that sucks. Yeah.
But if that's the case also, if if people could do that, then it was the marriage that strong to begin with, like you could also
Mm.
say. But yeah.
I mean, I'm also ready to tell anybody to break up immediately for
Oh yeah.
the smallest thing anyway, so, whatever.
Yeah. Like I know I hate kind of like listening to people complain about their spouse. Because
Oh, yeah.
I'm either like get divorced, break up with them, or stop talking to me about it. Like I don't give a fuck. Like you literally chose this. This is the path of life you chose. You can choose to end it whenever you want. You
Mm,
know,
yeah.
yeah, if it's a complicated situation and you need some advice, that's fine. But if you're just like, if people are just some people just having a spouse means they get to complain about their spouse, and that's just
Yeah,
they're like
that's a,
Tom. That's
like,
just how
cultural
it
thing
is. Yeah,
I do not
I don't
understand
get it
or
at
approve
all.
of.
I don't get
Yeah.
it at
It's like,
all.
you're supposed to like the person you're married to.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what?
Yeah. All right, back to Ricky. Start over.
Yeah. So Ricky was long distance dating a woman for 4 months, and then she moved in with him and they got engaged pretty quickly after that. And then after they got married, they started to fight a lot, and he says it's a personality mismatch, and it seemed like she was just not ever happy and wanted him to change, and they tried counseling but it didn't work out, so yeah, got divorced.
Yep. Yeah. Once somebody, yeah, trying to like, I don't know what things his wife is like trying to make him change, but like, yeah, once if like if your significant other is like really trying to micromanage your like
Mm.
everything you do, like that's like a huge red flag. Just
And, like, I would think that would just be exhausting from the person who's doing the
yeah,
micromanaging. Like, why would you want
it's
to
actually
do
like
that?
it's I we don't get into the specifics of
Yeah.
Ricky's situation, but it's like not it's a less extreme version of the story that we're gonna get from Sora, right?
Mm.
Where it's like
Yeah.
Sora comes to the conclusion through her counseling or therapy that her ex-husband like intentionally verbally abused her and tried to make her feel less than so that
Yeah.
he wouldn't feel like inferior to her or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's exactly Ricky's situation, but it's like it's in the same, area of like
Yeah. You
if
can
you're
see
trying
some
to make somebody
similarities.
change all
Yeah.
the time, you're like kind of making them feel bad about themselves at the same time, right?
Yeah, you're telling them there's something wrong with them all
Now
the time.
maybe Ricky does something terrible and his
Yeah.
wife was trying to get him not to be terrible anymore. And maybe there's something serious about Ricky that needs to change. I don't know, but there's similarities between the stories, although very different in the magnitude.
Yeah.
Because let's get to Sora's story, the big one, the big reveal.
Yeah, so Sora just straight up says
she just starts
like,
with it was domestic violence.
Yeah, it was domestic violence, and everyone like is shocked.
I would see. If somebody says it was domestic violence, I would immediately like gone to physical, which it turns.
Yeah.
It says it was maybe once, is what she said, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it falls in this category of like she gets into the details of like, oh, in the United States, they consider verbal abuse to also be domestic violence or mental.
Which I guess implies that that's not true in Korea.
I guess, yeah, it probably is. I mean, I'm sure it's not. Yeah, it's not the same everywhere.
Well, yeah. But it does sound like she's used to having to sort of clarify and defend that a little bit. But I do love how, like, she's very strong and firm about this, like, I don't know. I admire her in getting out of this situation and, like, yeah, absolutely.
She's living her best life now.
Yeah.
She, who knows how much money she raked in from that settlement. She told us how much it cost, but she didn't tell us how much she got out of it, though.
That's true. But also, it sounds like, she was the one making the money anyway.
Yeah, that's where I lose. There seems to be some sort of inconsistency, but I don't know. I believe her.
Unclear.
But yeah, no, but what she went through, like, is fucking sucks.
Yeah, like, he was super controlling and mean, and then at some point he hit her, and then she was done.
The example she gives is like, oh, he would like hide the car keys so she couldn't like take the cars out and leave the house and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And he would like make shitty comments about like how much she's eating to try to make her feel bad about her weight or whatever.
That's very like, but that's more the stuff that you hear, a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like making them feel less than, but this is like the direct way of doing it instead of just like framing it as like, you should really be better at this. But it's like it's like kind of similar, but
mm-hmm.
It also is it's always touchier when it's like the woman that's being verbally abused versus the man, but not good here.
Yeah. And she talks about the verbal and the like emotional manipulation and stuff, and she doesn't mention getting hit yet, and then Jerome has like the fucking nerve to be like, did he hit you? And I'm like, Jerome, shut your fucking face, like, you don't ask somebody this shit. Like, but then she said, that he did hit her once, and then goes on to explain that the rest was a lot of verbal and emotional abuse. So that was my moment where I'm like, Jerome, no, try again, be better.
Him asking,
yeah. Then at the end, he is like, oh yeah, give me this guy's address and social like security number, and I'll go take care of him. And I'm like, I don't need this much bullshit either.
I guess I wouldn't ask that, but like, kind of in the context of what they're doing for the show, it kind of makes sense to ask that. But
I think that is something you ask when you are closer to a person and in a one-on-one situation. Like, if somebody is doing this, this is not the time or place or any of his business.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have asked it, but it's also kind of been like, we're doing the show where we reveal why we got divorced. But yeah, I wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, but I think she revealed enough about why. And like, I could understand why she wouldn't want to necessarily talk about the physical aspect of it. Like, maybe she doesn't want to be seen so, like, I think like she doesn't want to be seen as that much of a victim, I guess. Like, I think we place an inordinate focus on like physical violence in this kind of, but like the other abuse is just as valid and bad. But I can see where she might feel like she looks more like a victim when talking about the physical stuff or something. Like, there's potential for that.
Okay. I actually thought it was maybe she wasn't mentioning it because she didn't want to paint like her ex-husband as a total monster. you know, that's what I
Maybe, I don't know.
yeah.
But she does at the end of this say like she is so happy now and her life is way better. So
The
good
thing
job for her.
thing I wrote down that Jerome said was after the story, after everything in the story, the subtitles for Jerome said, "Give me the address and social security
Mm-hmm.
number, and I'll take care of it," or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I don't need that
I
macho bullshit either.
But
No.
what is he implying?
Physical violence.
You think so? Why does he
I
need
mean,
the
what else
social
is he
security number?
implying?
Why does he need the social security
I don't
number?
know, just to make sure he has the right guy. I don't
Is he gonna
know.
like steal his money or his identity? I don't know.
It
I got
I don't
lost. I got
know.
lost in that whatever. I don't know if that subtitle was correct, but it seemed odd to be like, "Give me his
Yeah.
social security number, and we'll take care of this." Yeah,
Yeah,
the address. If he just said
unclear.
address, I'd be like, "Okay, he's gonna murder him or something."
Yeah.
But he
Uh-huh.
wanted that social security number too. Maybe he's gonna murder him and steal his identity.
Maybe.
Really get him. Really make him pay in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, that was intense. Yeah, drum got a little
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. I'm just like, miss me with this bullshit. I don't. So I was less of a fan at this point of Jerome.
Okay. All right. Dewey. We actually. How did Sora not go last? Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Dewey.
I don't know.
Okay, we got Dewey next.
Dewey was married for 9 years, so he also got married really young.
Yeah.
He says it's personality differences, and she wanted him to change and improve. And they fought a lot. And apparently, a lot of times when they fought, she would just be like, "Well, let's get divorced," and then eventually they did. So there
Yeah.
you go.
See, that's so his story is like very similar to Ricky's story,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like his wife wanted him to be better. But then when he said like I don't know, the way he explained it made it seem like at some point it felt like his wife wanted to get a divorce, but then he like did not agree to it for a while. and then
Mm.
at some point he agreed to it. Am I you think I'm misreading that or what?
Um, was this the one where he's like, we lived in a duplex and she would just hang out upstairs
Yeah,
and I would be downstairs, and it's like we're basically roommates. What the fucking point is this?
I think so, yeah. I think that was this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because do you want to get in the whole? Do you want to get in the go deep into like the divorce laws in the United States? Do you want to talk about this?
I mean, I don't think I know a lot about them, but go for
Okay.
it. And if you know things, you can teach me.
In the U.S., you can have a what do they call it? Like no whatever divorce.
No fault.
No fault. Yeah, you can have a no fault divorce, which means just one person has to be like, we have irreputable differences or whatever the phrase
Mm-hmm.
is. Irreconcilable differences is like you can just put that down and one person can just file
Mm-hmm.
and then you're divorced and that's all it takes. But in the state of Mississippi, South Dakota, and Tennessee,
Uh-huh.
I think both people have to agree to it.
Hmm.
But then
Okay.
there's like there might be some exceptions. My Google I copied a Google result and I can't find it again. Hell, all right, whatever. But like all I'm saying is Dewey from Mississippi, South Dakota, or Tennessee, and he was like not agreeing to the divorce. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, there there could just be a
It could just be like she
brought it up and
she
he
didn't want to
wasn't,
she didn't want to
they
like file it by herself until he
yeah.
agreed to it. It could just be that, yeah. But also there's this whole thing in politics in the United States. We want to talk about this right now, where like there are some people in legislation that want to make it so that like you can't get a no fault divorce or a
Yeah.
what's it called? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're in trouble.
hopefully not, but it could
Uh-huh.
get more
Yeah.
complicated to get divorced in the United States if things continue to go in the wrong direction.
I feel like I have heard about there being like waiting periods too. Like even maybe it's not for a no fault divorce, but there's just like you have to be separated for so long before you can actually be divorced like
Some states
legally.
have that too, yeah. But I think they still have no fault where like you could you separate and then you could just leave the house and then live by yourself for a certain amount of time and then file for the divorce
Mm,
or something. I think. But you're right. You're right. Some states do require like a separation period.
which is
Just to make
dumb.
sure, just to make sure that you actually want to get divorced.
Why
it is
is the
dumb. It is
government
dumb.
up in the business of allowing people to not be
They
married
I
anymore?
know
I
it
don't
doesn't
know.
make any
It's
sense.
ridiculous.
They want people to get married, and they give incentive with taxes to do so, and then
Uh-huh.
they want to make it. I don't know. I don't understand the obsession at all with like why is it it's
Yeah.
just ingrained. It's a religious thing is what it
Yeah,
is.
I think a lot of it does come from
It's a
that, yeah.
religious thing. So yeah,
Yep.
root of all evil. All right. All right. Basically, if you can't figure it out, people will be stuck in marriages that they don't want to be part of. That's the
Yeah.
downside to all of
The
the
potential legislation, yeah.
things going in the wrong direction. Okay, Jisoo.
Yeah. So Jisoo was married for 2.5 years. She starts by coyly calling them irreconcilable differences,
So that's the
and then
official term on the divorce
yeah.
papers. Yeah.
She basically explains that she was real busy with work all the time, and her husband went on 2 trips without her. And after the second trip, he was a different person. He just happened to accidentally leave his ring in the car sometimes, and then out of the blue, he was just like, "Hey, let's get a divorce," and tells her, "I don't think I ever loved you," which is some fucked up shit to say to a person, but okay. And she like suspected that he was cheating on her, and he just yelled at her a lot and wouldn't confirm it. But she did end up getting the credit card documents in the divorce proceedings, and she's like, "Oh, I can see how he booked a trip, and you can see like whose name was attached to the flight, and it was this particular woman that she was thinking he was cheating with, and stuff like that." And then basically after they got divorced, he got together with that woman. So it's pretty clear the man was cheating and ready to move on to someone else.
And what do we say to Jisoo?
Good job, you
Congratulations.
got out of there. Yeah,
Congratulations, Jisoo.
absolutely.
Yeah. Do we think they have kids together? Because otherwise, why did they get
Ooh.
married? I feel like they might have kids together. That's just my prediction. I think
Okay.
she has kids with her ex.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so who seems like they have kids?
I want to say Sora probably has kids,
Yeah, okay.
just because that would make sense why the bill was maybe so high. Jisoo, I think.
I feel like all of these guys are like, yeah, it was a real chill, cool divorce. And I feel like they either don't have kids or are bad dads if that was the case, you know? I don't know. It
You can
feels
be
weird.
cool about it. Even if you have kids, you can be cool about it.
I guess.
The thing is, they can't talk about their kids. So
I guess
if the
that's
hardest
true.
part of their divorce is like the fact that they can only spend 3 days a week with their kids, they can't actually talk about that yet. So they're
That's
just like,
true.
yeah, it was pretty good, except for the part I can't talk about.
That's
So
fair.
it's kind of hard to tell. I don't know. I don't really have a read on kids. I didn't really try to decide who had kids. I just if there was information, if there was some amount of evidence that they might have kids, I was like, maybe they have kids, but I didn't try to like deduce who had kids.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it either. And maybe it's just the context of being on a dating show, but they all seem like young and flirty people. Nobody feels like they've got kids. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
obviously some of them must have kids.
Sora was married for 6.5 years.
Yeah, she probably has kids.
Kids.
Dewey was married for 9 years, but can you picture him having children?
Sure, why not?
I can't.
I know
He looks
so many people that
so
have
young.
kids that don't
He
seem like
is
they
very
should
young. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just
I
can't
can
picture him with
anybody having kids.
Okay.
Benita was married for 6 years. Decent chance.
But it was long distance.
Oh, true. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, why'd they get married? Why'd they get married in Vegas? Why'd they get married on vacation?
Because she had just a really fucking good vacation and was
Got
swept up
knocked
in a
up.
whirlwind romance.
Got knocked up.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Probably the longer the marriage was, probably the more likely they had kids, right?
Yeah, that is a reasonable.
You're probably more likely to try to
say.
stick it out if you have kids.
Yeah.
In addition to just more time to have kids, but.
Oh, Haram might have kids. I don't know. Do we know how long she was married? I don't know. But something about like religious in-laws feels like there might have been pressure to have kids early or something.
Oh, potentially. She didn't get into it. Yeah, she didn't mention any aspect of the kids thing. I took it more of a dynamic between the adults of the family, but yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I'd say on average, like most of the dudes are like, yeah, it was chill or whatever, and all the women have vaguely at least traumatic stories, and it's just, oh, I don't like the way the world is.
Yeah, so Jisoo Jisoo is likely not from Mississippi, South Dakota, or Tennessee. Or actually, I guess they could be because they probably would have both. They both agreed to the divorce. So
Yeah.
if they were to make this like if they were to get rid of no fault divorces, basically she would have to like prove that he cheated on her in order to get the divorce. I think someone cheating on you is grounds for a divorce without getting the other person's permission. It might
Yeah,
be
what
different.
other things would be?
Yeah,
I guess
apparently
if they tried to
adultery.
murder
Adultery is a
you.
reason. Yeah, physical. I think
Yeah, domestic violence
domestic
would
violence,
be a reason.
but
Oh God, I would hope it's
yeah.
a reason.
There are stories that we don't need to get too deep in this, but yeah. But if they both agree to it, it's probably just easier to both just be like irreconcilable differences, and then just not have to go through the.
Well, wait, if adultery is a thing, you could just like, and you both just want to get divorced. You could both just be like, which one of us is pretending that we're having an affair?
No, or just actually have an affair.
Yeah, just have an affair real quick. So we could get divorced.
When I was learning about all the divorce rules, like running up to the election, after hearing some people's stances on it, I was like, oh yeah, that's an easiest loophole I've ever heard. You just actually commit adultery.
Yeah.
And then you can get a divorce. It's easy. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Easy. I mean, it's probably hard to do adultery. You actually have to like, you have to actually go out and date somebody else. Like find somebody else.
No. You just find another couple that also just wants to get divorced.
Oh yes, that's perfect. That's perfect.
We can make an app for this. It's fine.
Divorce double date. Divorce double adultery. That's perfect. Oh, that's actually cute. Okay. All right. All right, that's everyone's story, right?
That is it, yes.
Oh, this is the comment from the host. I forget the exact wording of it, but like basically one of the hosts like pointed out that like, oh, they didn't realize that like Americans would also feel pain going through a divorce. They thought like, Americans were like, they just got divorced like it was no big deal, like every other day.
I totally missed this comment. Oh my God.
I'm extrapolating what they said a little bit, but it was something about like, oh, I didn't realize that. I thought like American getting divorced in America like wouldn't be a big deal, but these people are actually feeling pain. I'm surprised. It was something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, I guess.
Interesting.
I would not have. Yeah. It's just like a peek into their perspective of like, oh, Americans are more whatever about marriage, but
yeah,
I mean, it's probably based on probably the statistics they hear that like, oh, in America, 50% of people divorces and marriages end in divorce,
and so just because it's more common, yeah.
There's this one. There's one comedian that was on America's Got Talent who's like, he's like a nerdy comedian, so he like all his jokes have like Venn diagrams or like charts that goes with them.
Okay.
Or like he'll use real statistics to set up a joke. And and one of his jokes is like did you know in the United States, 56% of all marriages end in divorce. And that's a scary number. That's a scary number when you're getting married. Until you hear this number, 44% of marriages end in death. So the only two outcomes of marriage are divorce or death.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up when the more successful version is considered ends in death. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I'm like, it doesn't matter, just because it ended doesn't mean it was bad.
Why do anything in life? It just ends in death. All right, back to the house. Oh, we gotta talk about this. Do we recognize some knickknacks in the house? Now, I actually know what Dewey's talking about.
I know what he's talking about too.
You actually do. Okay.
We're big nerds.
Well, I only know about this game because I never played the game myself, but I watched.
I never played it either.
Okay, I watch these like guys that play like old adventure games, and I watched like a playthrough of this game, but I never actually played it myself. But it's like an adventure video game from 1998 that got remastered into 2015. So I've only watched the remastered version of this game. But it's kind of like Coco characters. I actually don't know.
Yeah, they're based off of like Mexican the sugar skulls and stuff from what Day of the Dead. And, like there's a cultural Mexican thing that these pop culture things are referencing, but he only knows the pop culture reference, so he sees it and is like, oh, hey, it's from that game. But it's truly just a figure that is like of, cultural Mexican significance.
So you don't think, okay. Yeah, you're probably right. So you don't think it was Coco or Grim
No, it was
Fandango?
neither
You
of
think
those.
just
It was an
fitting?
authentic Mexican thing.
There you go. Okay. I actually thought at first when he said Grim Fandango, I thought he like actually knew, like, oh no, this is the character. But then he was like, or it could be Coco, and I was like, oh, maybe it's neither then.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
the thing that both of those are referencing.
Yeah. But then basically for the rest of this TV show, Dewey is just going to be the butt of any nerd joke that ever happens in the show. So
yeah.
yeah.
This show, his edit is not going well. They are not doing him any favors.
Yeah.
He's also not doing himself any favors.
Although they do him the favor of like doing that thing where like all he did was reference a video game, but then they're like making him seem like he's like some master like computer hacker or something. Like they're extrapolating like, oh, he must be really good at like this stuff that he's probably not actually good at because he knew about a video game from 1998.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of making him look better, I guess.
I guess.
But yeah, I guess they didn't just want to totally leave him out of the show. So anytime he mentions anything nerdy, that is when we are going to see Dewey. All right. What else? Some of the stuff we already talked about. Yeah, we already talked about this. All right, first impression picks. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
So these are not each other.
Yeah, there's no like formal thing. It's just confessionals, and so nobody knows who picks them or if they get picked at all.
Yeah, they don't know like how many texts they get, or they're not getting texts. Yeah. So, yeah. Do we like this?
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't get to like feel good about themselves or feel bad about themselves, really.
And we get more information because everybody is talking a bit like in context, or some of them are like, here are the two I'm interested in. Oh, if I have to just pick one, I'll pick this one. We as the viewer get a lot more information. I like that.
Yeah, they actually let us know like who their second was if they gave a good answer in confessional,
or sometimes a reason why. Yeah, it's good.
I think I like it. Yeah. I mean, what do you lose by not doing it? You don't get that moment where like the person that never got any text finally gets a text, and then they're like super happy finally.
Yeah.
But you also don't get like the person that never gets text knowing how much not of a chance they have, and then
and then just like depressed, checking out of the show. Yeah.
It's more authentic to just be like, I don't know if it's more authentic, but I mean, in real life, you would actually be getting texts from the person that like you like. But in this situation, it's like you're
just interacting with them in person.
I could see it both ways. I could see it both ways. Yeah, it's kind of more realistic to have text, but honestly, they should allow you to text like as many people as you want. Maybe that's like the most realistic thing to do. Like you get one text per person, but you don't have to text everybody. But then you feel really bad if you don't get any text, knowing that like you like they could have just texted you just for like just been like, hey, or something.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll get as many texts as you want. It's a lot of things to show in the show, but
that's just no longer a show. Normal human interaction.
Yeah, I got really worried that they were going to do the heart signal thing on the show, but the hosts like guess, but they don't do a whole segment of like.
Oh yeah,
they're them coming to a consensus guess,
and we don't have to actually seeing if they're right or wrong. Who they pick,
I know. Okay, so it wasn't that bad. They just kind of made their own guesses and they talked about it a little bit, so it was probably the right amount of host involvement. Heart Signal should really just do what they just did, be like, oh, I had these people matched up, I thought they were good, and then and then cut to the show, get back to the show. All right,
absolutely.
You want to explain this game that they're playing, kind of? While they were doing?
Somebody brought up a mobile game, and it's just like you scratch it like a scratch off ticket or something, and then it tells you a thing to do, basically. So like Jisoo gets a prompt that says to move her seat next to the person she likes, and so she goes and she sits in between Ricky and Dewey, even though that's not who she likes, but whatever. And I think the only other one we really see is Ricky has to spoon feed someone some tequila, and he gets to pick who he's gonna spoon feed. And I don't know, it's just random little weird interactions where it's like, hey, do a thing at a person more or less, you know?
Yeah, I think there were a couple other ones, but I forget what they were. Those are the main two. But when they were doing this at first, like not everybody was there, so like Jerome and
Mm.
Sora were like doing a confessional or something. I don't know, or they were
Oh
together
yeah,
somewhere else.
yeah.
But I think if they were together somewhere else, they would have shown it. Maybe
Right.
not if that's like they're hiding this Jerome and Sora relationship. I'm not sure. But then at least Sora is playing the game at some point. I don't know about Jerome.
Mm. Yeah, it seems reasonable that that was while people were getting whisked away for confessionals.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. All right. I don't know which order they revealed it in. I just have everybody's. I have them in the order.
Okay.
I always, whenever we watch a show, I always group them into men and women, and then it's usually the order that they came in the house.
Oh
Is how
yeah,
I
yeah.
have them. So
Okay.
just want to go through the guys first.
Sure, sure.
So these are who the guys picked as their number one
Mm-hmm.
in confessional. All right. Tom picked Aram.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have notes on under some people, other people I just have who they picked.
Yeah, yeah.
Dewey picked Jisoo.
Not surprising.
Jisoo
He
did sit
basically
next to
picked her from
him.
the beginning.
They're
Yeah.
already showing though that like even Dewey can tell that like Jisoo is like, so Jisoo sat between Dewey and Ricky, but Jisoo's gonna
Was
tell
paying
us
more attention to Ricky,
like
even
Jisoo's
though, yeah.
yeah. There was actually a moment that was like kind of sad to watch where they were playing that like Korean game that we never understand where they like say numbers and then stand up.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jisoo didn't know how to play. So both simultaneously, Ricky and Dewey like explained the rules to her, but then Jisoo like interacted with Ricky,
Yeah.
like instead of with Dewey off of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's actually like a perfect like experiment to run, like to see if
Yeah.
someone's interested in you and like have the exact same interaction and see who they they
See who they
move towards.
choose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So Dewey likes Jisoo the most. That's who he told Jerome in the beginning, right?
At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But I think he can already tell. But then Jisoo, if we just want to skip to Jisoo actually tells in the confessional, she says Jimmy, right? But she
Yeah.
chose to sit next to Ricky because she hadn't talked to him yet, but also might like him from a
Mm-hmm.
superficially, I guess.
Yeah. But she does say that Jimmy reminds her of her ex.
Yeah, there you go.
But she does mention this, like, he's being considerate of her, like he brought her beer outside for her, or like we keep getting
Yeah.
shown these little ways in which he's taking care of people.
Yeah, that's Jimmy's superpower.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get the full scene. Like, I guess they had to go outside for dinner, and then she must have gone out first, and then Jimmy saw that she didn't bring her drink, so then Jimmy brought her drink, but then she didn't realize Jimmy brought her drink, so she went to get it, and then she like lost her drink, and then until she realized that
Yeah.
Jimmy very slickly, casually was just like, "Oh, here's your drink."
Yeah.
Didn't even like
Mm-hmm.
have to say. He didn't like go to her and be like, "Hey, I have your drink." He just like was holding it until she got there, and then didn't even say anything and just handed it to her.
Yeah.
This fucking
And then I think
fucking
just
slick.
walked away too. Like he didn't even leverage it into anything.
Yeah, he didn't even use it as like it wasn't like a tactic to. It wasn't like this like blatant tactic to flirt with her, right?
No,
It
it was like
seemed
cool guys
very
don't look at
genuine.
explosions,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Now he might be so good that he is like doing all this very purposefully,
Mm-hmm.
but
It might just be he's a guy
even
who
to
takes care of
me,
people. Yeah.
I would be like, damn, this person is just like, you know, they're subconsciously looking out for me almost, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which feels even more special than like the obvious
Yeah.
flirting can feel. Yeah. All right, back to the guys. Jerome picks Benita, right?
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
also mentions Sora.
Sora is number 2, and this is where we find out that Jisoo wasn't even in the top 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, Heejin wasn't even in the top 2.
Oh, right. He just picked
Yeah, see,
groceries
I don't
because he didn't
know.
want
Is
to
her
cook.
name Heejin or is it Jisoo? I think it's unclear at this point. Is it a coincidence they're all making the same mistake? Me and Jerome?
No, he's planted the seed now. It's his fault.
Yeah. Jerome says Sora is like his ex-wife, which is a positive. I think when they're
Yeah.
saying this though, it's like them acknowledging that like they're seeing how they were like before they got married.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
obviously something that attracted them to their ex at some point,
Yeah.
and they are still able to see those good features in someone else and appreciate them.
Yeah. I do think it's like possible to like retrospectively think about how, oh, when I noticed this when I was dating them, that might have been an indicator that we weren't going to be compatible later on.
Yeah.
but maybe some people don't bother to do that. I don't know. Or maybe they're
And it
just
could
not
be
doing that
some
thing. I
things
don't
are
know.
an indicator of that and other things are not, and you can still look
Yeah.
back fondly on those
Again,
things.
they've known each other for
For a few hours, yeah.
since 3 o'clock
Yes.
at the earliest. All right. Jimmy picked Jisoo.
Jisoo.
So there's actually a match there. I think
Yes.
there are a few matches, aren't there?
I think there are 3. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually a lot. Ricky picked Aram.
Mm-hmm. He also mentioned Benita as well as his second.
He said he was between Harm and Benita, but then they cut back to him choosing to spoon feed Harum instead of Benita during the whatever game.
Oh, and he did make a whole meal of choosing too when he was
it's super awkward, man.
That's true.
This was super
he was
awkward.
Just like oh wait, let me sit and think about it.
He didn't even have a cop. Well, no, the cop out was he could have fed it to Tom, right?
That's true.
But Jisoo had the ability to sit between two guys to make it
that's true.
Less. But his was choose one person to spoon feed. He could have copied out and give it to Tom if he didn't want to choose, I guess. But because Tom said something funny, I feel like they might have discussed that because Tom said something like his feelings were hurt or something after Ricky spoon fed Harum. So I feel like there was a conversation we missed. All right, Benita, Jerome. She picked Jerome.
Yes, but special mention goes to Tom.
What's the Tom? I think it's Tom. That's gonna be Tom's only mention.
Yes.
And I feel like she kind of threw it out because it's one of those things where they were the first 2 in the house.
Yeah. There's always just some little something there. Yeah.
I think by the end of this, I kind of like Benita actually. I feel like if I had to choose somebody, I'd probably choose Benita. I don't know why.
Okay.
Heejin chooses Ricky.
Yeah, she was gonna pick Jerome, but she was salty about how he didn't remember her name, so she went with Ricky instead.
Let's talk about this, Sarah. How significant would you think they didn't remember my name on the first day they met me be?
It might be more the his insistence on, hey, pick an English name so I don't have to
that shit
think
was
real hard.
Up, yeah, but she doesn't say that part. But yeah. But I if you just ignore that for a second, would it actually bother? I mean, she was immediately bothered when he didn't remember her name.
Yeah,
and then he used the wrong name, and then he got into the whole thing.
Well, she might have felt they were vibing, and then him not remembering her name shows that he wasn't really feeling that way. You'd think he would make an effort to remember the name of the one girl he was vibing with if he were vibing with her,
Yeah. Well, the evidence points to that in this episode because it actually turned out that Jerome, she wasn't the 2 women that he was interested in.
Exactly.
But I feel like if I was vibing with somebody and they forgot my name on the first day, I wouldn't be I'm done with this person, and I actually don't think that she is done with Jerome. I think Ricky's gonna be a hot commodity. I think if I had to predict, I'd say Ricky picks Harum, right? Yeah. So and his other one was Benita, which means that Heejin also isn't in Ricky's top 2. So I think at some point Heejin will try again with Jerome before the end of the show.
Okay.
I don't think she's actually totally out, but I don't think I would actually read that much into it, somebody not remembering my name, depending on how many times it was said. If it was just if I just meet somebody and they say their name, and I never have to use their name the rest of the day, there's a good chance I don't remember their name. But I could totally like them or hate them. It's nothing to do with whether I remember their name or not.
I can acknowledge that is all accurate and true and fair, but I can also feel how I might feel slighted if I was kind of interested in somebody and they couldn't remember my name and then called me by the wrong name. So I can understand how she feels. Yeah.
I mean, she's right to feel slighted in this case.
Yeah.
All right. Jisoo picks Jimmy. Yep, that's another match. Okay. We already said that one. Okay, Sora also picks Jimmy.
But she couldn't remember his name, so
yes. Because she didn't remember anybody's name.
I think she's also not really vibing with anybody. Yeah.
She's in a different social economic status, I think. That's the problem.
Okay.
These people might not be rich enough for Sora, is what I'm thinking.
Production does ask her if she thinks anybody picked her, and she accurately guesses that nobody did. So I think she's probably not feeling it with anybody.
I would guess that a lot of people
Yeah.
might have said that, but they were wrong, and they just showed Sora saying it.
Oh, that's
because
also
I would
fair.
totally be like, yeah, I don't think anybody picked me. On the show. Why would I be? Why would I start being like? Why would I? I don't know. I would not.
But you might say,
even if I thought somebody picked me, I wouldn't feel like I should be confident about that. You know, like.
But you might say, I don't think anybody picked me, but I would really like it if this person had. You know, like you might frame it differently.
I'm sure Sora.
Yeah,
maybe Sora didn't say that. Maybe she doesn't really care if anybody picked her or not. But.
Yeah, I don't know.
What does Jimmy do with Sora? It's just Jimmy. It's similar where Sora. It's a moment. Sora references a moment where Jimmy saw something that she was doing and like helped her nonchalantly.
Yeah,
like, another moment. I forget exactly what.
And
it
I
was,
think
but...
she does mention she's like, I'm not sure if he's just like that all the time or if it meant anything. So she's trying to figure out if he's just like a real nice guy who tries to take care of everybody or not.
It's figuring out a way to flirt without making it obvious that you're doing it.
Why not make it obvious? Because Harem
but Jimmy
got picked by the guy she flirted with.
That's
like, she
true.
got the shit done. Be obvious.
Yeah.
But I think, like, in the past, you've made reference to, like, sometimes it's, like, just real easy for you to, like a person if they express interest in you.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, that's
well, I mean, that's
thing.
my perspective for sure. Yeah.
So, like, why be coy? Just
but
be out there
working.
And be
it's
like, I'm into
so
you.
Well.
What's
okay.
up? Let's go.
I guess I'm just more impressed with Jimmy. Because it feels like he's doing nothing, but it's working. And I guess that just feels cool.
I mean, in general, be the cool guy that takes care of people, too. That's also just a great trait to have.
Yeah. Actually,
you could
that's
also
honestly what it is. Like, he's probably not even doing anything. It's just how he is.
Yeah.
Or how he's trained himself to just be a good person. Yeah.
Yeah. So be a good person and flirt really intensely so everybody knows what's up.
If you're not like looking out for everybody's drink at a party, it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad
Not
person.
everybody's, but you can do what you can. It's fine.
I mean, Ricky gets 2 votes also, so it's not like Jimmy's totally cleaning up on the show, but it just
getting close.
I'm seeing the I'm seeing the moments where like Ricky is and one of the girls are like flirting with each other, but Jimmy, we have to do these like flashbacks, and then like somehow,
oh yeah,
like Sora didn't pick. Like, I'm sure we got some scene where she was more flirtatious with somebody, right?
Yeah.
But
I think she was flirting with Ricky at some point.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And then Jisoo was with Jimmy at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I thought so.
See, I'm getting all confused between this whole Heejin Jisoo thing. It's all messed up.
What has Jerome done to us? Goddamn.
I'm totally broken. You know what? Maybe Korean names are hard to remember.
No.
You know what? I take it all back. The Koreans should change all of them. Change names.
It's just
for
hard to
Jerome.
remember exactly who sat next to a person on the way to the grocery store. 3 hours of content
when
ago.
You're not when you're not that interested in them, I guess.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's all right. All right, and then Harem also picks Ricky. So Ricky and Harem, Jisoo and Jimmy,
and Jerome and Benita.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Episode 1, day 1.
Honestly, don't mind any of those pairings. With what I know about people so far, I like them.
Is there any pairings you would hate?
Nothing I would hate. I don't.
All the people that we don't really care about aren't in a match, right? So it's like it's Tom,
I guess that's
Dewey,
true.
Tom, Dewey, Sora, and
I do really like Heejin though.
Yeah, my only negative on Heejin was like how quickly she was turned off by the comment, but yeah, I did like Heejin. I think, yeah. So I think the 2 guys, Tom and I wouldn't be surprised Tom and Jerome. I mean they're gonna go on dates at some point, so maybe there'll be a moment, but I don't really see why Tom and Jerome, Tom and Dewey. I don't really see how Tom and Dewey would actually be like get into a match by the end of the show, but who knows? I've been totally wrong after the first couple episodes. Some things. Harem actually says she likes Ricky's quieter micro expressions. Like that.
I mean, he does describe himself as
the
laid
little
back
things.
And chill.
Jimmy and Ricky, it's those little things that they do, man. Yeah.
But I do also think that Ricky is out here with some quality flirting game, though. I mean, he is flirting with everybody, but he is proficient in flirting.
Yeah. Again, I don't think he's like being different than how he would be. I don't know. Maybe
Oh
he's
yeah, I
just so
think it's
good.
his
I can't
authentic
tell.
self. I
I
just
can't
think
tell.
he's good at flirting, you know?
I guess. Yeah. Do you think Jerome is more likely to pick somebody that has kids?
Oh, maybe
Maybe she's
because he's
like, oh,
sad and
Benita.
wants a whole family.
Benita kind of looks like
Yeah,
she has kids, though.
yeah. Does she?
I don't know. Oh no, Benita's the Korean Vegas situation, right?
The long distance relationship
Well, the
from
vacation
a
marriage, or whatever it
vacation
was.
marriage. Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah, yeah.
vacation marriage. Okay, then maybe that's not the most likely to have kids.
Well, you thought it was because it was a shotgun wedding.
That would be fast. How long was that vacation, by the way?
Oh, maybe she took a
It
sabbatical.
could have
Who
been a
knows?
multiple month kind of. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
probably a longer vacation.
Yeah, you don't
Plenty of time
travel
to realize you're pregnant.
all the way to Korea from America and not like take your time and take a quality vacation, you know?
I guess
It's a long
so.
trip.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now Sora seems like she might have kids though, and that was Jerome's second choice. So
Maybe he is just going for mom vibes. I don't know.
he's
He
missing
wants
the
a full
well,
family
but
immediately.
Jisoo, well, it's not Heejin, but yeah, Jisoo is the other one I said maybe might have kids too.
Mm.
But all right.
Yeah.
Well, he'll just change who he likes once they reveal. How many
Yeah.
kids
Once
they
he gets
have.
that information, yeah.
All right. We get to day 2. What do they do? Wake up, like
Have breakfast and then talk about weddings. This was some crazy.
Oh, this is a good story.
You'd
No,
never get on any other show.
Yeah, this is a good story actually. But first, let me point out that Heejin thinks Tom has nice legs.
Oh,
But
that's right.
but Heejin says this to Jimmy. So like
Yeah.
Tom's getting ready to work out in the morning, and she like leans over to Jimmy. Is like, damn, Tom has some nice legs.
Does that mean that Heejin is definitely not into Jimmy? Right?
I don't know.
I feel like it might mean that.
I don't think necessarily, but it probably lowers the chances. Yeah. I mean, like I would totally be like, well, maybe, yeah. I feel like with my wife, like we would say things like this to each other, but like if you were trying to date somebody, I guess you wouldn't.
Yeah, like the point in which you are in a relationship already, it is very different from I met this person yesterday and maybe I'm trying to date them on this show.
Yeah. But also, what if his legs were like really nice though? You
They did show them.
You gotta say something. You can't just sit there and say nothing when Tom's legs have been shown to you.
I guess she was compelled by his legs. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Tell the Jisoo story.
The Jisoo story?
The wedding story.
I don't have
the Jisoo wedding, right?
I just wrote that they were talking about weddings. And
I'll tell you the whole story. So
tell me the story. I didn't write it all down.
So Jisoo never had a wedding because their first Jisoo's they had a venue picked out and they were going to get married, but then the venue burned down. And they weren't immediately like, well, I guess we shouldn't get married. Instead, they were like, well, they tried to
book another place.
Tried to get another place, but then COVID happened. And then, by the time COVID was over, they had already gotten divorced. So they must have gotten married.
Yeah, they did the paperwork.
Yeah, they got
just
married,
didn't have
but
a
they didn't
wedding.
have a wedding.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
The one story I wrote down was that Dewey played music from The Lion King at his wedding.
Yeah, I felt bad for Dewey in that scene because they made a whole like bit out of it, and he was just like his story was just like they played a Lion King song like maybe for people to dance to or something.
Yeah,
but it turned into this whole joke about how like, oh, he must have like come down the aisle to like the like something like I don't know. They really just like.
Oh, I thought he said that somebody started singing the song, like.
Well, because people know the words
at his wedding. Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't like during the ceremony though. Like everybody kind of like, it was one of those things where he like, I guess he could have just gone along with the joke, but he was just like, it wasn't like that, and then everybody just kind of like kept making the joke go further and further. And it wasn't just the host; it was like the other people in the house,
the people in the room. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny. He could have just gone along with it, I guess. But I've been in those situations too, where I just get annoyed that they're not hearing what I'm saying, even though it doesn't matter. But I could just like be part of the joke, but I'm just, for whatever reason, I get annoyed with them not listening to what I'm saying. But
okay, yeah.
So I just felt for him in that moment.
I just think it's even like to dance to. Like, I don't know what Lion King song you would pick for the dance floor, but I think it's funny just to think about playing a Disney musical song and everybody just breaking out into song in the middle of your wedding, you know?
You don't think there's
Or
Lion
the
King
wedding
songs you
party.
could dance to? He didn't say which
Like,
song, but
yeah, I don't know. Like, which, like, I don't know that they,
I mean they have a beat. You
I
can
don't know.
dance to them. I've never
I
danced to them
guess.
myself, but yeah, why not? All right. Dates will start in episode 3, but we didn't get that far. All right.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what we got. We got previews that, they're gonna go on one-on-one dates, and then it also looks like a group date where they're gonna go to a dancing
Yeah, they're gonna make
class
them do some sort
and
of
get real
like
close.
Spanish, Latin, like I don't know, some like ballroom dancing. I guess is the best way to
Yeah,
describe
yeah.
it. Yeah,
hmm
dancing
But
with the
like
stars stuff.
a little sexy, like they're very close.
What are those? The I want to say the fandango. The flamingo?
Flamenco?
The flamenco or whatever. What do they call it?
No,
That's
flamenco
one
is
of
a dance
one of the
style.
ballroom dance styles. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's like
don't
that. I don't know if
know
it's that one, but
where it's from. Because there's like also samba is a dance, but like they're from different
aren't
regions
a lot
of
of
I
them
don't know which
South
ones are from
American
where.
or no? Or
Yeah,
Latin
but that
American?
doesn't. I mean, they're in Mexico now, so I don't know which dances are
I'm sure. I'm
specific to
sure.
Mexico. They
Yeah, I
might
don't
learn.
know. Yeah, I don't know which one, but I assumed it was like because they were in Mexico, whatever dance. Yeah.
Yeah, they're learning a Mexican dance, ballroom dance, or
But yeah,
something.
it
Is
did
what
look
it
intimate.
seemed like.
It
Yeah.
did look intimate. How would you stack this show up to the other ones?
The pacing is too slow, but I was having fun with it.
Like, it's better than what's the X's one? Transit Love, right? I like this one. I think I like this one better than Transit Love because Transit Love is
Yeah,
just as kind of slow.
I guess it's true. And we do get to get, some weird drama of finding out about their divorces, but nobody's like crying about it because their exes are
Yeah,
at the table. So that's an improvement.
it's actually kind of beautiful to watch these people.
Like start over, yeah.
Yeah, like start over. We get to like we hear how they were miserable, but they've already gotten through the misery.
Yeah, their lives are better now.
And yeah, they're actually like very happy people. And I for the basic format, which is most of these shows,
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is one of the better ones. I at least liked the extra divorce aspect of this. I thought it made it
Okay.
interesting. Like I don't know, even though I don't understand getting married that much, I like
Uh-huh.
somehow getting to hear this story made me feel like more connected to them, each of them individually.
Oh
Just
yeah.
getting to hear their
Okay, that makes
stories,
sense.
whereas usually we
Mm-hmm.
just get like an intro from somebody about them. But
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
really
know.
get into a
It's
lot of
it does
what
feel
people are
more.
like.
It
Yeah.
does feel more personal that like they actually were married to somebody, I guess,
Mm.
than
Okay.
like on the ex's show where it was like some of the relationships are like we dated for 6 months, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
some of them were serious. Or like we saw like wasn't there last season on Transit Love like there was a couple that dated for like 13 years or something
Oh
crazy,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they wouldn't qualify for the show, I guess, because they didn't get married.
Right.
But that's basically this. It's like if everybody had that.
Yeah.
But
But
then
they're not actually
yeah,
with their
the
exes,
going.
so
I don't
it's
like them
better.
going
Yeah.
back on the show. I think that's what bothers me about Transit Love is like they're getting back with their exes and they've already
Mm-hmm.
like been in fights, and I'm like, why are we doing this?
It's very
Yeah,
much not a
this
healthy
is like the
situation.
yeah, this is the exact
Yeah.
opposite of that. This has the beauty of them moving on from terrible
Yeah,
relationships.
yeah.
So it's actually the opposite of Transit Love, and maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Got to the end of episode 2 and I was like, dang, I want to see these dates. I haven't watched episode 3 yet, but I do think I'm gonna go back and at least watch another episode. It is also interesting to see it as like Koreans from America on a show that is still in this Korean format. Like it's an interesting slight change, and I'm curious to see how much of that changes the way it's edited later or the kind of interactions they have, if it does at all.
Yeah, I didn't really notice any difference. I mean, you were saying
Yeah,
that
so far it
you were
hasn't,
saying
but that
the
preview felt like
yeah.
it was a little,
I mean,
you know.
I could see them editing the show differently in terms of like
Yeah.
maybe they'll be less conservative with the edit, maybe because they're like, oh, they're Americans, it's fine, or
Yeah.
something. I
And
don't
some
know.
of it, I'm not even sure, like, is it because they've been living in America, or is it because they've, already been married and are now divorced and just feel differently about life a little bit, Because there's definitely some, like, spooning in the preview, which you've never seen on these shows,
Yeah, outside of maybe Singles Inferno, but or do we even
That's
get
true.
do we get
Singles Inferno
spooning
is a
on Singles
little
Inferno?
spicier.
I don't know if we got spooning. We got sleeping in the same bed. But that might
Sleeping in the same bed.
but they just don't
There's
show
definitely
it.
like
That's all.
some massage
Yeah, they're just
times
willing to
that are.
show it in the show.
Yeah. Hard to
Yeah.
say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I would say for me, if I'm doing my personal rankings, I still have Love Catcher Bali just because the extra layer of kind of how that show's actually a game show,
Yeah.
kind of over top of it. I like
Mm-hmm.
that one better, but this one might be number 2 for me now, considering
Wow.
how down I was or that we were on Singles Inferno 3.
Yeah, Singles Inferno's got to pull it together in season 4.
I think Singles Inferno has like the highest ceiling for being good
Mm.
because it's so different.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I just didn't like season 3. So if I had to currently like rank my favorite format, I actually think I like the divorce. This would be my second favorite
Okay,
out of all the Korean dating shows we watch right now.
interesting. All right.
I probably am not going to watch the whole season though, so it's more of a if it continued with this vibe, it might get more boring because it's like now that I know their divorce story, that might be like the most interesting part of the show.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I probably feel more invested in these characters than I have after 1 or 2 episodes of any of the shows. Honestly,
Hmm.
probably even more than Love
Yeah,
Catcher Bali. Honestly, because
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how we feel about Singles Inferno after season 4.
Yeah.
All right.
Coming sometime soon,
Sometime
hopefully,
soon. All right.
maybe.
Anything else on Love After Divorce?
No,
No.
I think that's it. We did it.
All right. Next time it'll either be we might just wait it out for Singles Inferno 4. The only other thing we
That is
might do, if you're interested, Sarah, is
Mm-hmm.
maybe rewatch Severance season 1 and just do kind of a
Chat about that
recap. I don't know if
before the.
we've kind of talked about that show, but we've never gone like super deep on like what the hell is going on in the show. I don't think. And this is a show that's fun to talk about in that way. Like what is
Yeah,
happening on the show?
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I'd be
I'm
interested
not
in
sure. I'm not sure. You're very busy with, or you have a lot of busy
Yeah.
stuff coming up. In fact, Singles Inferno is gonna be hard for you to do, but we're gonna try.
Yeah, I
We're
gotta
gonna
move
try to do
and
it, right? Yeah.
buy a house and do some shit in life that's difficult right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
we'll.
but we're
I
gonna
mean,
try to push
we'll
through.
still get through Singles Inferno. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to push through. But and so maybe we'll do a Severance season 1 recap. Get ready for season 2. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So January something. We'll see. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No,
All right.
that's all I got.
Where can people contact us, Sarah?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at keepwatchingpod, Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, leave a comment under the video on YouTube also at keepwatchingpod. And if you want to tell us, I don't know, about your divorce story, or if you would be skeptical of dating a divorced person, you can leave us a rating or review at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Yeah.
All right. We don't need everybody's divorce story, unless it's a good one. I don't know what's a good divorce story.
Well,
I mean,
do you
they're
mean
all
good in terms of a good
The
story,
ending,
or just
the ending to all divorce stories are good, but
maybe not all? I'm sure there are some bad divorce stories.
but the ending is we're divorced, so it's good, right? But
Yeah.
like I don't know if any of the participants on the show like would want to share their divorce story if they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if there's a
I just did not plan for what I was going to say at the
Yeah.
end of this episode, like I usually don't plan.
Let us know if anybody that listens to this cares at all about Severance, because that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be good to know.
Do we want to give people the cliff notes on Severance just to be like, this show's crazy?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, it's on Apple TV Plus, which is James' nemesis. So there's
I
that.
haven't watched Apple TV Plus in a while, actually. I have some shows on there that I need to watch though, so maybe actually, I guess like I'll get it for like 2 or 3 months and I can catch up on some shows.
Okay. But the idea is there is this company, and what they do to their employees is they fuck around in their brains, so that way when they're come into the office, they forget who they are outside of the office and only remember work things and only do work things. And when they leave the office, they completely forget work things and only know outside work things. So they basically become two people, and it's kind of weird and fucked up.
Yeah. And that is like super weird and interesting to talk about. And then there's like a ton of more weird stuff in the show.
Yeah.
Weird stuff that's not even talked about in the show that I'm just like, why is this person like this?
Yep.
They just what like it there's scenes where like it feels like the actor like did something wrong. But it's still in the show.
Uh-huh.
And it's like so there's something else going on here.
Yep. And the work they do is nonsense and weird.
And the show was
just,
like
it's weird. Yeah. It's great.
Oh yeah, the work, the actual work they do at their job is weird.
They're just like looking for scary numbers on a computer or something. It's weird.
Yeah. And then the show was heavily delayed by the actors and writer strike.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So
it's been a bummer.
Yeah, it's exciting that it's finally back.
Yes.
Yeah. But all right. Yeah. Long ass podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Give us a shout out if you made it this far.
Yeah. Definitely let us know.
All right. Right up to the end, because here we go. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.